Hey guys, I'm super happy to be back. This is Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and after a week off, we are back with some adventures in Middle Earth, our D&D 5e campaign set in the world between the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, or the time in Middle Earth. Yes, it's a good time. But yes, we're back, and we're here joined by our everybody. It looks like Feanor's not here, but he is, I swear. But we are joined by our full cast, including finally, after so patiently waiting, our new character, Jessamine, which will be introduced here relatively shortly. But in the meantime, we've got lots to kind of cover, lots to look at, but most importantly, we've got players to introduce. And so let's go ahead and start with Valinda.
Excited to be out of that darn Mirkwood.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat from the very beginning.
That's fine.
People couldn't hear you.
Can they hear me now?
Yeah, they can.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dain. I just got back from America. It's 4 a.m. It's quite early. So I'm gonna have to get used to this on my Wednesday mornings. But there's no better way to start than with some adventures in Middle Earth. But what else? What else? What else? Well,
who are you?
My character's Valden. He is a high elf of Rivendell, and he is a scholar, meaning he is a healer, and he's happy to be out of that Mirkwood.
It's always good to be. It's always good to be out in the Mirkwood, for sure. And next we have Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that tubby Australian. I'm feeling a little under the weather right now, but still good enough for AME. So bear with me if I get a little coffee or anything. But I play our
Don't worry,
dear
I'm right
young
there with you next
warrior.
to coffee.
I play our beloved young warrior of Rohan, Theodric Grimborn. He is currently valiantly running away from the spiders and the not so nice elves that we've been stranded with for the past 4 weeks. Um, yeah, but no, he's looking forward to seeing friendly faces.
Great.
Imagine fleeing from combat.
Fleeing
Yeah,
from
like a
combat
sensible person would.
I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
and being in the care of hobbits at the Easterly Inn. What a nice, warming welcome. And then there's Feanor. Speaking of which, we'll jump really quickly over to Feanor before introducing our new character.
Okay.
So, Feanor.
Well, I'm Feanor or Lava Crest in the chat. I am a Mirkwood Slayer. This potentially may be the last time you see Feanor, but we'll see how that goes. He's going to try and flee a giant spider that was eating his friend Nim last he checked. And actually was eating Maeglin last time he checked, which is excellent news. You know, the silver linings. But we'll see how he goes. Let's pray we see him next time.
Yep, exactly. Things are looking a little bit dour for Feanor, but again, do remember that the firework that had been given to Jalen previously has gone off, and so you are completely fresh with all of your stuff. So at least you have more opportunity to escape if that is the case. So yeah, it's good. It's a party, but. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. I've been contemplating. I've had 2 weeks to be able to kind of like soak this over and just be like, let's see how this goes, because I honestly have no idea what's going to be happening here. So, good luck. It should be a party. But next, and certainly not least, we have Jessamine, our new character, played, of course, by Spider. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Okay, yeah, I'm Spider Fan in the Twitch chat, or recently renamed, reborn, some might say, Jessamine Sackville Baggins. She is a lovely, lovely hobbit, and she is 2 feet and 5 inches tall, and that's really all anyone knows about her so far. She remains an elusive mystery in her 10 minutes of screen time 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. And that's where we're going to actually leave off our session at that. But first, let's go ahead and do a little bit of recap after I introduce myself. I am Kyle LaFont. I am the lore master here for Adventures in Middle-earth. I am playing both with and against these players, narrating their stories through the land of Middle-earth. It's very exciting. I look forward to this every single week. We have wonderful players here, as always, to be able to enjoy this narrative with. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some recap narrative. So the last that we found our adventurers, they had, well, most of them, ridden off to escape Savage Towler and their elven captives. Upon their kidnap, very close to the edge of Mirkwood, days out from the edge of Mirkwood, the company of elves were set upon by Savage Tauler, but not before Theodric was thrust into many dreams. Again, dreams dealing with his rage, but also the lingering shadow that seems to persist within Mirkwood. This dream almost alerting Theodric when he did awake to the presence of something sinister. Making his way over to Valineth to check out Maeglin to figure out what's going on. Not long into that conversation were they set upon by Savage Tauler and his army of Addercops, giant Mirkwood spiders that have made their way out and have begun attacking the caravan. All of the elves that are within the Wayward Elves, these basically renegade elves, are doing all that they can in order to protect the caravan, primarily because the caravan serves as probably the biggest offering to be able to get the men of the North to join their campaign and helping overthrow King Thranduil. And so they, upon being attacked, had everybody that was part of the caravan, which included the party members, flee with the caravan and everything that they have as fast as they can, to which they did, but not before Valineth jumped into Jalen's backpack and grabbed out the firework, asking for help, his heart's greatest desire. Boom, the firework exploded, but not your traditional firework where there are flames. Instead, the entire party received the effects of a long rest, which in Adventures in Middle-earth is kind of a big deal, as long rests are only acquired during the Fellowship phase. And so it's the journey itself wears, but that means that it removed all exhaustion, everyone regained hit points, everyone regained all their hit dice, and uses of all of their abilities that reset after a long rest. And so, completely healed and completely rejuvenated and able to move on, the horses fled into basically up the elf path with Valineth, Theodric, originally Feanor, Baradarak, Rufus, Baldur, Belgo, and then Bori and the old man. Oh shoot, what was his name? I had it written down here. Do we remember his name?
Oh, which one? The crazy
we
guy?
called him Light in. Let me see if I can find it. I might have it in my notes.
That guy.
Yeah, the old dude.
The old
Crazy
man. The crazy man. The hermit they found. Well, Maeglin.
Kalar. Kalar.
Perfect. Kalar, the hermit that they found within, basically within Mirkwood. They made their way out, but and Cranthiel as well. But as the elves faced off their giant foe, Cranthiel, she took one of the spears from the back of the caravan and ran in to join her comrades in arms in order to fight off Savage Tauler, in order to give the company time to escape. But Feanor, as well, jumped onto Nympharion and rode to Cranthiel's side, charging full on into Savage Tauler, piercing it right in the face with Nympharian's horns, but not before Nympharion was set upon by Savage Tauler, crushed underneath the weight of Nym, waiting to be feasted upon. Savage Tauler crept up in order to devour him. However, jumping on top, Maeglin I'm not going to necessarily say heroically, but Magellan jumped on and dove headfirst into the mouth of Savage Taller, being consumed completely whole. And that is the last that we hear of Magellan and Feanor as the rest of the company, within a day, moving at super fast speed because of the firework, made their way over to the western eaves of Mirkwood at the Forest Gate. And this is the first time that the party experienced fresh air, and not much time passed before they realized that Bori, their dwarf, who had been found within the woods, was no longer with the company. And so they traveled about a day and a half, 2 days south, leaving a note for Feanor just in case he was able to escape, that they made their way south. So we'll see if Feanor is able to find that, if he does somehow escape this situation. Made their way south, finding their way into the land of the Beornings, Beorn's territory. For those of you who remember him from The Hobbit, he's a skin changer shapeshifter, and he rules the northern part of Wilderland, essentially, the space between the Misty Mountains and Mirkwood. And they made their way down to a very new-looking inn that had recently been constructed within these lands. And they found that it was called the Easterly Inn, to which they were welcomed by a very jovial, joyous hobbit, and additionally a young lady hobbit as well, who came over and introduced herself first and foremost to Valineth as Jessamine. And we're going to go ahead and leave it there for you. So we can start from the beginning if you wish, or not. Or just continue on.
I think the best place we'll start would be like right after we left off. So, as a recap, Jessamine is holding both of Valineth's hands in her hands,
Right.
and she said, "Valineth, it is a joy to meet your soul. My name is Jessamine Sackville Baggins."
Oh yeah, in Valineth, it's like just a Baggins. I've heard of Baggins before, and the pleasure is all mine. My name is Valineth. I am your neighbor, actually, up north, and out west, I guess, of Rivendell. And this is my compatriot Theodric.
She will turn her full attention to you, and offer the same gesture.
Theodric reaches down and grasps her hands, and he just kind of turns to Valineth and Jalen was right.
Did you think we were lying this whole time? Look at this creature is a hobbit. This is a hobbit.
Okay, look, I know that we haven't got your notebook back yet, but we need to stop with this. Like, you're not writing that down.
Stop with.
With what? She's a hobbit.
Yeah, you can't go around calling other sentient people creatures.
But we are all creatures.
No,
we are
no.
all creatures.
Funnily enough, it doesn't say that about elves in your book. Just
Is
humans.
this a bad time? I can
No,
come back.
sorry.
Okay.
The
All right.
long-standing issue.
Yeah.
I see. I
But
don't.
yes, it's well met.
Well, I am a man of science, Theodric, and this is a scientific endeavor we're at. Look at her feet. And I point at her feet.
If I could.
We don't do that to people. We
Point at her
later.
feet.
We don't point. You don't point. You teach children not to point. Don't point. I'm sorry about him. He's stupid.
Well, I beg to
differ,
With
otherwise
people.
it's what-
I would never dare to say anything bad about people that I have just met, but I just wanted to come over and introduce myself and see if I could be of service.
Well, thank you. We very much appreciate the offer and the kindness that you're
Theodric.
showing us.
What is your full name?
I am Theodric Grimborn. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Theodric. It is a joy to meet your soul.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
sitting right next to them on either side are Baldur and Belgo. And on the very end, kind of seated a little bit far away, hands nervously twiddling on the table, is the old man as well. And they
Yeah.
they all look nervous, but Baldur, he stands up actually as you approach in order to greet you properly, and he kind of gives you a small bow, and he reaches out one of his hands in order to exchange. He hasn't like looked at any of your exchanges from any others. You can tell that like this is like the first like creature outside of like captors that he's seen, first person out of, instead of captors that he's seen that hasn't tried to kill him. And so he is very happy, and he stands there, he's like, my name is Baldur, and this is my son. Stand up, Belgo, stand up. And Belgo just shifts a little bit, and he stands up. He now has his necklace readorned upon his neck from the caravan, but they both, and he bows, and he offers his hand to shake as well.
So I take one of their hands in each of mine, not to like shake, just to hold. And again, it's very firm, but also gentle and warm, and very reassuring. Like it's very steady. And she just says, "It is a joy to meet you, both of you."
It is a joy to meet you as well. Jessamine, is it? Well, in fact, we are friends of your people, the hobbits of, I'm assuming, the Shire, with a name such as Sackville Baggins. We are very familiar with the people of, the people here of Wilderland, and we've made our way. I'm a merchant, you see, from Lake Town, and I've made my way as far as Bree, and we're very familiar with your people. But it's impressive that there's an establishment such as this that exists in Wilderland. It's bewildering to me.
Many things in life are bewildering to many of us. But there is usually some sort of explanation, one that I would love to share with you at a later date.
And Belgo, he chimes in and says, "Wow, look at you. Look at those crystals around your neck. Oh, duh, she's very beautiful." And he like looks up to him and just says, Now, Belgo, we just met, Jessamine. We need to be gracious hosts. Or we need to be gracious guests.
You are not the host.
Yeah, guests.
You are not the host here. Okay. Thank you for your kind words, both of you. And she'll move on to Kalar, the old man. And she'll offer the same gesture, like of both hands.
And Kalar, he takes like one look at you kind of like nervously, and he continuously is like twiddling his like thumbs like on the table, like looking like back and forth. He slightly glancing up at you. Yes, my name is Kalar. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. And he doesn't like offer like any gestures, but he just like kind of sits there looking at you, hunched over.
I'll lower my hands. I'm trying to create direct eye contact. Is he responding it anyway?
Make an insight check.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, boy. Oh, my insight's not good. 11. Okay.
11. He seems to be drawn to your gaze, but like he seems very aware of the fact that he is, and every time he like realizes like, oh, I'm looking at her, and so it's like he'll hold your gaze for but a moment, but you can tell that like he's actively trying to retract his gaze as well.
You have nothing to fear here, Kalar. And she'll turn her attention to the group. All of you. You are safe here. You are warm. You are welcome. You are invited. I can tell just from the look of you that you have had Maybe not the easiest time on the road. Please, stay as long as you need. The hosts here are gracious and giving, if a little enthusiastic.
Yes, yes, quite indeed. And the Hobbit bartender, he comes over. As I had introduced myself earlier, my name is Dodie, and this here, as you had seen, is one of the Bagginses. In fact, I actually am a very good friend of the Bagginses, and he just like continues on and on about his whole spiel about my whole reason that I came out west here is I was inspired by Bilbo Baggins, and the fact that one of us has joined us here for these past couple of months has been nothing but a treasure. She's a treasure, don't you think? And he kind of gestures to you, Jessamine, as if expecting an answer, like, from the rest of you. Oh, can't hear ya.
Oh. Me or Forged?
Forged.
Both of us?
Yeah.
Mm.
I was going to say, well, she is a sight for sore eyes. It has been quite a while since we've seen a homely house. So, of course, it was... I feel very, very welcomed in this establishment. Thank you, Miss Jessamine.
Yes, thank you both very much for your warm welcome and your kindness. It's been quite a while since we've been anywhere we could genuinely call safe.
And safe you are indeed. Since I've been here, about a year now, actually. Since we've established this, we have not seen hide nor hair of any wicked men, orcs, or anything of the kind. In fact, someone would even think that someone was out there protecting us. And he thinks for a moment. But of course, that's nonsense. We are in peaceful years. The dragon is dead. There is no kinds of things such as, well, evil trickery afoot here in Wilderland. In fact, I actually visited Beorn not too long ago, right when we established, and by invitation of Bilbo Baggins himself. I made my way all the way to him, and he said that we could set up an establishment here. And Beorn, well, he's not quite good with words, but I will tell you, he is a fierce ally to be able to have. And as I can see from all of you, and he looks at your weapons and your armor and like everything that you have on you, well, it seems like you've been through quite a lot. But here at the Easterly Inn, as you had mentioned, Master Elf, yes, it is a homely house. It is, in fact, the most eastern homely house of, as I would say, the Shire. It's wonderful, and we are very happy to be able to have you. And while you're here, I don't know how long you plan on staying, but we have plenty of good stuff from the Shire that actually we are currently in the process of making trips back and forth, bringing it from our homeland out here to introduce it to all of the big folk that live here in Wilderland.
That's impressive. The Shire's not very close to here.
Indeed it is not.
I heard hobbits are built of hardy stuff, and I'm glad to see it in practice. Well, I have never experienced hobbit hospitality myself, but I'm excited to see it.
Indeed. And while you are friends here, do know that you can treat the Easterly Inn as your home. Visit any time. Stay as long as you want, as long as you have the coin for it, of course. Just kidding, but not really. He kind of just shrugs it off.
I love this guy. By the way, Miss Jessamine, are you the owner of this establishment? Is it Dodie over here?
Oh no, I am the owner of this establishment. And then he looks over to Jessamine. Oh, sorry, don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, go on. Tell stories of all of your heroic doings and your background. She is a Baggins, of course. And he like him.
Yes, indeed, I am a Baggins, and Dodie has been so gracious as to let me stay here while I find my way, I suppose.
Find your way. Are you searching for an adventure, young one?
Less of an adventure. You could say I am on a sort of quest, but I think that is a conversation that will be for another day.
Searching for a wizard? We've met many wizards. I'm just saying we're 2 for 2 right now.
Why should I search for something I am?
A wizard? You're a wizard too. I've never met a wizard hobbit. Wow, this is amazing. And
I would
takes
never
out
dare
his-
to presume myself such, but I practice small magics. I am far from the best. My nan actually taught me most of what I know. It's mostly spiritual connection and healing through. Anyway,
In fact, I
please.
would attest to such things. I actually stubbed my toe, if not 3 weeks ago, and within a day she came over to me and says, I can help you with this. And she took out one of her crystals and she told me, as long as I focus my energy into my toenail, I shall be healed within the day. And I woke up the next morning and I felt no longer any pain. In fact, it's as if it flew right out the window, as if it hadn't ever happened. She is a wizard, I would say.
I'm sorry, have you made a crystal astrology Granny Hobbit? Have I just realized what you've done?
Yes. Yes.
No.
I did.
I can't believe it took you that long to realize it.
Valid.
I'm just saying, I got those vibes like when she was introduced. Within, like, I know you weren't there for that, but within like 2 sentences, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a crystal lady.
Valinith pipes up. He's like,
Brings me
crystals?
so much
I've
joy.
never heard the healing properties of these. I would like to see your healing in practice one of these days. I am also a healer of the Rivendell realm. So it'd be interesting to compare both methods.
Of course. I must promise you though, my practices. Some are skeptical of the magics I exude, and those who do not believe, you'll find them very ineffective.
Oh, I see. So it's like there's a tale of this man called Saint Nick. And you know, Saint Nick, I hear it's the same thing with him.
Nick, and Dodie, he thinks, oh, I don't know quite the origin of that name. Perhaps he comes from down south, one of them Gondor folk. We haven't seen one of them up here in quite some time. In fact, actually, day one of opening, there was a man from Gondor who made his way all the way up, but he didn't stay very long. In fact, we were just opening up shop, we didn't have much, and he just continues on and on, just talking your ear off about all of these different people that have come to visit, and just everything that you bring up, he always has to have an example of like someone that he's met and the connections that he's made.
Beautiful.
It's a funny guy. Valneth is very entertained by him. But well, it's good to meet someone with some skills that I have not possessed myself. So I look forward to, in at least the time that we can be together, learning from you. It sounds interesting. Young
Of
just mine.
course. I'm always willing to teach anyone who's open to such things.
Jessamine, I'm gonna have you make a perception check for me.
Okay, perception. Okay. Let's see how I go. 14.
14.
Oh, cool,
Sure.
you see Feanor walk through the door. Oh, here I am, guys.
What happened
Just
to you?
manifest.
During this conversation, you can't help but notice that it's become uncomfortably humid here, specifically around the regions of your feet. It's gotten so much to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. As you look around, you look down and you see a dog panting and sniffing at your toes. And he just...
How big is this dog?
He's huge. Huge.
Yeah,
He
I'm-
probably, like, stands probably, like, up tall. His head is probably taller than your where you stand.
Yeah.
One
He's
of
a
those things where it's like,
large
how did I
dog.
not notice that?
I'm really short. Okay, I will just nervously back away from this.
Oh, don't you worry. He's a good enough boy. He means well.
I'm sure he does. I'm just unaccustomed to large animals.
That's Rufus. Don't mind him. He's a sweetheart and a good judge of character.
Okay.
Seems quite fond of you.
He's
Okay,
a warhound as well.
No,
valiant.
in training. In training.
In training, that's correct.
Maybe.
Is he quite safe?
Yes.
Oh yes, he's a good boy. He's a very good boy. Just
Belgo
don't-
pipes up too. Oh, he's the best boy around, actually. He belongs to one of our companions in Mirkwood, and unfortunately, he's orphaned now. But we're taking care of him.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did lose a companion along the way. May Jalen rest in peace. She was actually from the Bree, very close to where you come from. The Breelands, very close to where you come from.
I wouldn't exactly say that Bree is close to the Shadow. We share many differences.
Well, I mean, culturally, yes, of course. Geographically, very close, though. I doubt you ever met, though. She was how to put it, a young youth full of energy and vigor, and maybe I know that can rub a hobbit the wrong way. At least so I've heard.
I see. Either way, I am sorry for the loss of your friend. That seems like not the sort of thing you get over easily.
I mean, we haven't really had the time to grieve properly over that. So maybe now that we are safe, we actually have that ability to be able to do so. And Valiant kind of thinks to himself.
At the mention of Jalen's name earlier, Rufus actually backs up a couple steps, sits down, and whimpers just slightly.
Oh, poor Rufus. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe you can...
hesitantly like put my hand out to try and pat and comfort the dog now.
Make an animal handling check for me.
Okay, sure. Oh boy, that's a weird one. 4.
You reach out your hands to
Super
tentatively
awkward
pat,
about
and he immediately like looks up, like alert, like his like ears kind of like a little bit, and then just and he begins like shoving his hand, like his like nose into your hand, like, and he begins slobbering it completely as if he's tasting something from your hands. As he just and it like almost to the point where your hand's beginning to like go into his mouth as he's just doing it.
It's probably the meat pies I was helping prepare earlier.
He backs up.
Of course, you must be hungry. Let me get you something in honor of your friend.
That would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll get them a round of drinks on me, you know, whatever they want. And some food. What's that? Whatever's in the kitchen.
By the way, Kyle, roll a d16. If you have.
I will roll a d16.
Do roll a d16.
Thanks for checking.
Also,
It's a natural one.
nice.
We'll
Also,
get disadvantage.
But we get to choose when we spend it.
did we get all of our stuff back?
Yeah,
the
so
cart, right?
everything that was on the cart, all of your stuff was on the cart, including all the stuff looted by the elves from other people. So
Nice.
all of your stuff that was taken from you was on the cart. And so, yes, technically you have it back.
Nice.
It's pretty good. Well, we need it. We deserve it.
We
Belgo
deserve it.
and Baldur needed their things back too, so.
Yeah, I don't know how much of their wine and fancy foods left after the elves went at it, so...
Yeah, we can double check later.
Actually, that's something we need to discuss for each of us. Unfortunately, you are and he kind of looks at Jessamine a little bit, and then looks back at you.
Oh,
Again,
I've
maybe
left to the
convers-
kitchen
Oh yeah, okay.
to
okay.
go
Perfect.
get food. So
Perfect.
I'll be back.
He says, that's a conversation that we must have. Originally, as I had promised, what was it? I think it was 40 silver apiece, or 20 silver apiece?
40. Or,
40,
Yeah.
40 apiece. From everything that we have lost as far as my cargo, sure, maybe we've added some stuff that's been wrongfully taken. I don't so much feel comfortable selling these. But with everything that we've lost, including the ponies, I'm going to have to subtract probably about, to recover my losses, about 10 silver apiece. But as it seems that you have lost a companion as well, I know this is not a great thing to break up. I know we're all still grieving, but if you would like her share.
I feel like I can comfortably speak for what Jalen would have wanted when, and for Valinus and myself, and obviously Feanor when he gets here, I'm sure he would agree that I believe it's best that you keep Jalen's share and use it to recover. This has got to be quite the ordeal for you and Belgo, and it would feel wrong for us to take that money when, to be completely honest with you, we haven't been spectacular bodyguards this whole time.
In fact, I would say the opposite, my friend Theodric. You have been more than we could have ever asked for in bodyguards. If half of the things that have happened during this last adventure happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the men we hired back in those days, they were glorified escorts. Never had we encountered what we had on the road, and never had, well, based on what you told me, had I encountered enchanted streams, elf magic. In fact, the road seemed darker than it ever had been. The fact that each one of you were there protecting our caravan, but most importantly, protecting the life of my son, we are forever in your debt. I do hope that the elf path does become safe so we may travel again, but going forward, I think we might have to start making the long way around.
Yes, so I have to wonder what plans do you have for the future? Because it just doesn't seem safe to be traveling work with it.
Well, I am a merchant, and my job and my profession deems me the ability to, well, trade with the people of Wilderland. I've traded with the elves. The Elven Kingdom is relatively safe, and by way of their safe passage, I've made my way to Wilderland trading with the woodmen. Fortunately, there are other ways around Mirkwood, ways that perhaps take more time. And seeing that the elf path isn't as safe as it used to be, it's really made me consider perhaps the path that we take. But going forward, it really depends on how much of our stuff sells at Woodland Hall. The people there, well, they're waiting for goods from Esgaroth. The dwarven smiths, the goods that come through Lake Town, they're very valuable indeed, and stuff that woodmen don't get, well, they don't see quite often, and they rely on merchants such as myself to be able to, well, keep up to date, keep pace with, well, I would say the rapidly growing economies of Dale, and even Esgaroth as well, and Erebor. And so they rely on the stuff that I have, hence the reason I was willing to pay each one of you such a hefty fee. It is important that the rest of whatever remains of my cargo makes it to Woodland Hall. And if you would,
Well,
our contract still asks that you help escort us to Woodland Hall, which does mean at a certain point as we make our ventures down south, we are supposed to dip into Mirkwood. But
How?
Yes.
I was gonna say, how soon do you want to leave? As you can see, we're missing a compatriot, Feanor.
Well, this establishment, beautiful as it is, cozy as it is, I've never heard of it, and from the sounds of Dodie, it seems relatively new. I don't believe Feanor would know anything of this establishment, and so waiting here might not be the best idea if he is to make it out, perhaps meeting at Woodland Hall.
That's true. It's
would
probably
be
a
our
better
best
idea.
idea of. He says he's familiar with the people of Woodman Town, and so Woodland Hall is just a bit north, so I'm sure he's familiar. And he seems to be a, well, avid frontiersman, so making his way there if he is able to escape.
Valnith calls over Dodie and says, so we actually have a friend who is just behind us on our way. If he does happen to come in...
Just behind you! You're sitting at a table. How silly, of course. No, I only jest. Continue onward.
I like your humor, small one. And Valnith laughs and he says, oh no, but we will be making our way down south to Woodman Hall within the next few days. If he hasn't shown up by then, and if you do happen to see him, his name is Feanor. He is a woodland elf. He's got short hair, very ugly, but you know, it suits him well. And he, please tell him that we are heading that way.
Ah! If there's an elf that makes his way here named Feanor, I will send him in your direction. Hopefully he does buy a drink. Hopefully one of our, large person-sized rooms would fit him kindly for an evening. You all look like you need a little bit of rest before heading off on your journey. In fact, I know that, Jessamine, she is quite generous indeed, offering to pay for your meals. But if you have a few extra coin in order for a little bit of rest, I will find that, well, no better rest can be had here anywhere in Wilderland.
Well, I am looking forward to a night of peaceful rest. That's for sure. Although I don't feel, and Valnith for the first time starts looking at his body. I'm like, I actually feel okay. I was pretty exhausted, but I don't know if it was getting out of that forest or what, but I don't feel nearly as exhausted as I used to. Maybe it was that firework, and Valnith kind of takes it out. Is it like exploded at this point?
Yeah, it's basically just like an open wrappings at this point.
Okay. He looks at it and actually hands it to, or sets it on the table. And he's like, well, I don't know if this came in handy, but at the very least, it was beautiful.
Oh, what's this? And Dodie, he examines it. He leans. I guess he doesn't have to lean down. He just leans over and examines it. It's a nice red, kind of like fine paper craft that's crinkled a little bit, but it still has the Sindarin text written on it. And he says, and he takes one look at it and says, "These words mean nothing to me, but I do think that it is of importance. And if you say this was a firework and it made you healed somehow, that's quite impressive. Talk about magic, something that could even potentially rival Jess's magic." Oh, the Bagginses. Great people, great folk.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking forward to meeting her. I'm looking forward to understanding this magic she says. We've said, we've met many a wizard in our time. I'm excited to meet another one.
But like you, she is a guest. Of course, she's made her way back to the kitchen, made herself quite at home. In fact, she could work here if she wanted to. I've offered her a job a time or two, but she constantly refuses.
I imagine I help out, in the kitchen and stuff, just being
For sure.
useful.
For sure. I've offered her a job or two here, and she always refuses. She's always saying that she's helping us out of the goodness of her own heart, which, I will say, that makes a lot of sense, considering Bilbo Baggins, he helped us to fund this establishment. It only makes sense that his cousin would come all the way out here in order to help us out for at least a little bit. She braved the trek all the way over here, and she readied herself right to work. Impressive. In fact, better than my brother, Dindy, and he kind of, gestures over. I have introduced you to the whole family. Come, family, come over. Meet our lovely guests here. And you can see, actually, as this group of hobbits makes their way over, and you can see that there are these three what look to be Beornings sitting at a table, just snickering and laughing, very joyously, not really paying attention. But also sitting at their table are three men. I'm going to have Valnith and Theodric make traditions checks, and these are going to be at advantage for me.
Ooh, sweet. Advantage. Sean.
I got a 15.
Look at that, rolling well. Rolling hot. I rolled a 17.
17. Both of you look at these individuals, and there's a brief bit of familiarity. They're shorter in stature than the men of Dale and Esgaroth that you've seen, and especially so Theodric of the Rider of Rohan. These actually look like humans from the Breland. They're all very young, probably around Jalen's age, if not a little bit older. But they, if you're not mistaken, they look very familiar to kind of Brelandish look.
Is there anything signifying that they are from the Brelands, like that Jalen may have worn, or anything that is recognizable?
Make an investigation check.
Because Valineth isn't just gonna go up and talk to
It's
people
Tad.
unless. Yeah, right. Oh god, no. That's a 6.
6. So you go up or you don't go up. You look at them. Each one, the Beornings are very evident. They're large and they're very hairy. Like they have kind of these mutton chops and like incredibly tanned compared to like the people of Dale and Esgaroth for sure. But these shorter folk, much shorter folk, not quite hobbit size, but definitely much shorter folk. They look young, and all of them look relatively inexperienced, but they seem to be enjoying themselves. The only thing that you're able to tell is one of them has a very almost kind of distorted face, as if his face is lumpy to a degree, as if like he's been stung by like 15 bees or something. His eyes are kind of like half closed, as if he had run into a beehive. But the rest of them, they seem to be not as joyous as the Beornings, but they seem to be drinking it. But you do look at their drink, and you smell. In everything smells of the Shire here. Everything smells of Bree. And so you can assume that these people are Breelanders, but you're not for sure, based off of your check.
All right. Well, Valineth will actually approach them, and he'll sit down at the table with them. Actually,
one of the Beornings, he has this. It's really interesting. He has kind of this hat that he's wearing, and there is a large shell, like seashell, inside the hat. And he looks at you and says, "Ha ha ha ha! Check out this fancy pants! Hey everybody, Fancy Pants has joined us at the table," and all of them are like, "Oh, ha, 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 ha. No.
Yes, Fancy Pants indeed. Is this seat taken?
No, indeed. Pull up a seat. We're here to listen to any tales that you have coming from abroad. Clearly, you're not from Wilderland. Elf, I would assume. Elf of
Rivendell, the great city west of the mountains. Speaking of which, it seems like I'm in the company of Westerners as well.
No. Me and my compatriots, we're Beornings. In fact, my name is Igwar. My name is Igwar, and I'm the leader of this troop, merry band. Quite merry indeed, I would say. This over here to my left is going to be Lochni. So Lochni, he's also a Beorning. And, well, I'm a Beorning, he's a Beorning, and my other compatriot here, who is also a Beorning. Well, his name is Anew. We're let's just say the brawn of this group, and these three over here, we've become great friends, wouldn't you say? And the three of them say, "Oh yeah, good friends, Yes, I'm sorry. We're actually caravan hands. Actually, they're caravan guard. We're caravan hands, and my name is Andy Blackthorn. I'm here actually hired by the Brandy Bucks to transport goods from the Shire to here. You do know that this is a hobbit establishment, clearly, meaning they have to keep hobbit standards, and they don't make hobbit standards out here in Wilderland. So, I mean, we've had some have had experience. We're about to actually embark on our third journey back home. And one of the other ones, one he seems actually really close to Andy, steps in. And I'm Bill. Yes, Andy here is a good friend of mine, and this here, this is Lumpy Face. And Lumpy Face just kind of looks aghast. It's Tom. It's Tom. Tom, it's nice to make your acquaintance. It's not Lumpy Face, guys. It's just... Yes, as they had mentioned, we're part of the caravan. We're caravan hands. We make sure that everything is ship-shape, and we're in charge of, making sure that the ponies are all basically prepared. Make sure our wagon is all accounted for. Yeah,
The pleasure is mine to make your acquaintance. And that must have been quite the journey out east. At least 3 times you said you've made. That's impressive.
Oh, we'll be making our third in any day now. In fact, Dindy did say he's the leader of our caravan. He did say that, this would be the last trip at least for a while. I look forward to being able to settle down back in Bree. You see, we were hired for 3 excursions, and on our second excursion, actually, we were able to bring back Jess. Jess is a wonderful hobbit. She has all kinds of charisma. Have you seen the way that she heals? In fact, the other day, I thought that, and he kind of looks at the others, kind of are snickering at him. Well, she has given me this clay remedy for my face, and they claim that it's not working, but my boils have gone down quite a bit, I would say. It's getting better, I swear, as they're just laughing to each other. But
Do you have
anyways,
this clay remedy? I would like to see this. And Valnith looks at it, very curious about such things. He's never heard of such things.
make an investigation check. He doesn't have any clay on him at the moment,
Okay.
but you can make an investigation check.
Yeah, I'm curious. That's an 18.
18. Whatever he's got, it looks bad. And it looks like it's been irritated. It's red and it's very like he's been scratching it essentially.
Okay.
And
The boils.
yeah, the boils.
Okay.
If they have gotten better, they must have been real bad.
Okay. Valinith looks at him and do you mind? I'm a medic from Rivendell. I specialize in the healing arts. You mind if I take a look? Young one.
Yeah. Shut up, guys. Ugh, jeez.
All right.
And he's just
Yeah, make a medicine check or
yeah,
something.
make a medicine check.
That would
How-
be an 18.
How loudly are they speaking?
They're pretty loud. This is no prancing pony. This is a pretty quaint inn. Pretty much everything could be heard if there's not a ton of noise going on in there. And including your group, this is the only other group that's currently there. But what was your medicine score?
18.
18. You examine his boils, and this looks in part genetic. And you look closer, these look very scarred. There's little that you know to be able to truly get rid of these, outside of maybe making some of the swelling go down.
And Valinith takes a look. Have you had these since you were young, perchance?
Yeah, ever since I can remember. Why? Is it that
And
bad?
Valinith thinks-
Andy
no,
says-
I'm like, sir, like,
Yeah, it's bad.
and Valinith puts a thing on a hand on his shoulder and says, well, I mean, it does seem to be something genetic in a sense. I feel like you just need to take better care of your skin, maybe do some exfoliating every now and then. Just make sure that when you're on an adventure, do your best to try to wash as much as possible, because these will just continue to get inflamed and swelled if you continue to like make them gross in a sense. So do your best to make sure if you have the opportunity, wash your face when you can. If you can use this loofah, and Valnith actually goes up to the bar and asks if there's a loofah that he could purchase for from a loofah plant or something.
There's no loofah to purchase, but as you
To
walk up to
purchase.
the counter, there is a female hobbit that is behind the counter, and she smiles and says, "Oh, welcome. Is this your first time here to the inn?" "Well, of course it is. I remember everyone that comes through here." "Ah, you're an elf, if I'm not mistaken."
Yes, that is true. I am from Rivendell. I do have a question, perchance. Do you have anything to exfoliate in the bathtub or anything of the sorts?
"Ah, we hobbits know a thing or two about bathing. Let me go in the back and check to see if we have something. My name's Agatha, by the way. I am the wife of Dodie. If you have anything that you ever would need during your stay here, well, you can ask him if you want to hear an hour-long story about something. If you want something done quickly, come to me, okay?" And she hurries her way off to the back to find something.
Well,
And
I appreciate it. And
As
in
you do
time,
that, Dodie, he shouts, Agatha, no, you're supposed to meet our guests. Come. As he's like he's in the process of rounding up, basically a hobbit who looks relatively his age and stature, 2 young boy hobbits, and he's currently trying to get Agatha as he's gathering everybody during this whole spiel and shenanigans. Yes.
Well, there you go. Well, basically, Valnet's gonna take that time, whatever he gets, just to kind of go back to these Brelanders and just kind of explain a good skincare routine to help him with his boils and whatnot, so they don't get irritated. So spend probably, I don't know, probably the next 30 minutes or so, like going over that with him and whatnot. But in the meantime, he also does want to. At this point, I'm assuming he already has his notebook. He's actually going to tear out a page of the notebook, which is rare for him. It's very rare he tears anything out of that. And writes down on it a message. And he wraps it in the firework paper. And he hands it to the group and says, "If you are making your way back to the Shire, if you do happen to pass through the Brelands, could you deliver this to the Grinfold family, please? I hear they are they are astute, and people know who they are."
Andy speaks up. "Oh yeah, we know the Grinfold family. If anything, they we went to school actually with growing up with their daughter, Jalen, I think is her name. Yeah, we were a few years older than her, of course, but yeah, they're a very well-established family. She left not too long ago, before we did. If anything, actually, her journey inspired us to do the same. Searching for adventure is quite exciting, I think, but I do long for home. Have you run into Jalen? On your adventures, of course."
Well, yes, I did know someone by the name of Jalen. Quite brave indeed. Unfortunately, our paths parted not too long ago, but I think
did
she's
she
a
make it
great
all the way to
daughter.
Esgaroth?
She did. That's actually where I met her. Is quite a remarkable young woman, I think, and I think she's a great role model to have. Continue to find that adventuring spirit, because not a lot of people have it, and
Yes.
continue to do so. But please make sure that you deliver this to the Grinfolds. And Valneth also pulls out a couple silver pieces out of his pocket as like just a little payment for.
Bill takes it. "Oh yes, of course. We'll make sure that this gets into their hands. In fact, she left with not a word, and everybody's been worried about her. But time's passed, and since then, well, we haven't spent too much time in Bree as well. We've been traveling back and forth, and the roads are dangerous. I do hope she's okay."
Well, just make sure you deliver this to her family and her parents, if you could.
Indeed, will do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, it was nice meeting you all. Again, I'm Valineth, and these are my compatriots over here. If you do happen to need anything, feel free to come ask. Nice to
thank
meet
you
you
so
all.
thank you so much. It's nice to meet you. The Iguar, he says, and the pleasure is ours. Hopefully our paths cross quite a lot. You seem like an interesting bunch. I'd much like to hear everything that you have to say on your travels, and we bid you adieu, and we bid you all of the speed that you could ever need as you venture through Wilderland and throughout Middle-earth.
And as well as yourselves, fine gentlemen.
Thanks
At
for
ease.
the tips.
No problem. All right, that's all Valeneth wanted to do. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You make your way back, and at this point, Jess has come to the table and has begun delivering the food, and Dodie is just like, okay, Agatha, okay. Now that we have everybody, it's a little bit chaotic inside. Now that we have everybody, time to introduce my family to these wonderful group of adventurers. I've seen to take quite a liking to you. You have the adventuring spirit in you. All of you here have them, and so do we, the Brandy Bucks. Well, let's just say, in time, we will make this the largest establishment that the Shire has ever seen, west of or east of the Misty Mountains. And it is thanks to patrons like yourselves that we are able to grow. Come visit, enjoy your welcoming, comforting stay. And while you stay here, make sure to always keep a smile and make sure to always ask if there's anything that we need. But let me introduce my entire family. Of course, this is my lovely, beloved wife. Her name is Agatha. Agatha, she is a firecracker. I fell in love with her the very first time I laid eyes on her. In fact, I remember, and he goes into this long, drawn-out story about how he ended up meeting Agatha, and it's beautiful. It's nice. But she quietly stands there and just kind of awkwardly looks. You see, my wife, she is of Tookish ancestry, which means that she has also a knack for adventure. And ever since meeting Bilbo Baggins, we couldn't help but make our way east. And just everything that he does, he just gotta name drop Bilbo. But she is my rock. She is my foundation. Without my wife, Agatha, the Easterly Inn could not have existed. She has done everything as far as the calculations, as far as, well, building the construction of this. She planned out every nook and cranny to a detail. Well, enough about that. She is a wonderful, wonderful hobbit woman. And if you get to know her, you'll fall in love with her just like I did. And these two right here, and she kind of, he ruffles the hair of like the two boys. These, well, Dando and Rodri. Introduce yourselves. I'm Dando. And I'm Rodri. Pleased to make your acquaintances, all of you. They're not shy. They're just putting up a facade. There, you can see them all around the Easterly Inn. They have a knack for chasing chickens, which Agatha doesn't like so much. And Agatha like slaps him on the shoulder. Stop! Too much information. Okay. But yes, they are wonderful. If you ever want to, well, have a childish spirit in you, talk to them. They are also really good help. If you need anything, ask them. But if you want something done right, ask me. And this is my brother, Dindy. And Dindy, he like kind of like awkwardly like stands there. Definitely not as boisterous as Dodie. Yes, Dindy, he is my brother. In fact, we grew this business together. And it was the two of us that actually sat down with Bilbo Baggins and actually planned out every detail. In fact, and he goes into the story about how
Theodric just slowly whispers to Valeneth, just quietly, "Is it too late for me to go back for Feanor?"
At this
Savage Taller is seeming pretty good right about now.
I mean, it is a little overwhelming. We've been kind of in solitary the entire time, but you gotta admit, it's better than the company we were keeping before.
True.
But these are hobbits. From what I've heard, I haven't met many in my own personal life, but at the very least, friendly. You know?
Jalen would have loved this.
Yeah, she definitely would have.
And then he finishes his statement. And then I had some spoiled wine, and I had some strong gas leaking out of my butt that day. And he continues onward. But that's neither here nor there. This is my family. This is the Brandybuck family. Each and every one of you introduce yourselves. Be as hospitable as possible, as we are at the Easterly Inn, of course. And all of them introduce themselves individually. And Dodie, he basically makes himself and finds himself a busy. Rooms! You said you wanted rooms for the night, and he looks like he's always just like here and there, like busy himself. Like he's talking, but he's not necessarily talking to anyone in particular. But anyways, yes, Jess, you make your way over to the table, and you give the food to Valineth, Theodric, and company.
Oh, an actual meal. Thank you so much, Jessamine.
Yes.
Oh,
You
very
have our
welcome, I'm
sincerest
sure.
thanks.
Why don't
Now,
you join us?
Dodie has arranged rooms for you, or Agatha?
Yes, they're currently doing so.
Then the only other important decision you need to make tonight is whether or not you want first or second breakfast, or even both.
Oh, first or second breakfast. Seems like kind of a lot to me, but I'll take both.
Oh well, this is a Hobbit-run establishment, so we try to get the 7 meals a day as per a Hobbit custom.
7?
Huh.
Have you ever
Yeah.
heard of that, Theodric?
Look, we both know I thought hobbits were a fairy tale until literally an hour ago. So no, I've never heard of more than one breakfast. But you know,
I mean, it sounds
Sounds
luxurious to me.
Second breakfast is actually one of the few things that Bilbo has done that I actually approve of, and partake in with great joy. So yes, you have your first, more traditional Hobbit breakfast. Second breakfast is something that's come into more recent years. It was popularized by Bilbo, and Bilbo, as I'm sure you're now well aware, has been instrumental in the foundation of this establishment. So,
Did
of course-
someone say Bilbo Baggins? And just out in the back. Just
Jody, I'm just explaining second breakfast. You don't need to be so involved.
no, it's
So
already
you-
past breakfast time, Jess. Wait
We're
till the
talking
morning.
about tomorrow's second breakfast.
Yes, of course. If you have talk to Jess, she knows all of the items on our menu.
You must be very proud of him. It seems like, is he your uncle, relative, Bilbo? I mean, he's a legend among hobbits.
He's my cousin once removed.
Oh, I see.
He's my father's cousin.
Oh,
That's
you must be proud of him.
simple terms. That's what it is. If you want the whole family genealogy, we can go into that. But I have learned, and she kind of gives a side eye to the awnings, that I have learnt that not everyone is interested in who you're actually related to. They just want simple answers.
Oh, well, I mean, we have time to listen, but I mean, we're not going anywhere anytime soon, right, Theodric?
yes, I do believe we're going to be cooling our heels here for a little while.
At least a couple days. I'm sure we'll
Well,
have
in
the
that case-
opportunity to hear all about your genealogy.
Yeah,
find it
okay.
fascinating.
I give him the family tree, like the whole thing.
Valineth is just fascinated by Hobbit genealogy. He's taking notes. He's learning as much as he can about.
Yeah,
all
so
of this.
I take out my notebook, and the pages unfold like Hiccup's map and How to Train Your Dragon, and it's just this huge family tree. So this is where the Tooks intersect with the Baggins tree, and this is the difference between the main branch of Baggins and me. I'm over here. I'm the Sackville Baggins of the Sackville, and then you have these Bagginses over here, and the differences are important because of how they intersect with each other. I just go on this whole spiel.
This whole time, Theodric is listening politely and nodding.
Yeah, I imagine your eyes
Eh?
glaze over.
He's just glad to be somewhere safe, warm,
Mhm.
with good company, and just eating proper food.
Yeah.
Like he's just basking in the whole comfort of the situation after what has been an incredibly stressful, horrific last couple of weeks.
You and Belgo.
Valnus is doing his best
Belgo's
to diligently
ravenously
take notes.
Yeah.
Sure he is. Poor
Oh,
guy.
Rufus has
Which
taken a couple scraps off the table and has made his way under the table and
I
started
don't know. I
eating.
would have gotten like a separate bowl of scraps just for Rufus.
Oh, and he is in love with it. He's finished it and he started eating the other scraps off the table.
Oh yeah.
He is a
One would
happy
expect
dog, and
nothing
he's just like under the table, like very audibly. Just yeah, it's nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yes. So that is the family tree.
Valnith thinks in his head he doesn't know if he quite understands, but he has it written down. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Jessamine, and it's a pleasure to know your lineage. It's quite a long lineage. It seems very complicated, but it seems like you know it well.
Well, we study our family trees like we eat.
So
Many's the
seems
day many's the comfortable day I've spent on our family porch smoking and discussing Hobbit genealogy. It's what we do.
Sounds pleasant. It seems like Theodric would love doing that, right, Theodric?
Oh, can't hear you.
You are muted, my dude.
Sorry. Friedrich, with those words, kind of snaps back into reality. It's like, I'm sorry, doing what now?
I
Smoke-
understand
Smoking
you
and
are
teaching
tired.
genealogy.
Yes. So first prefix and second prefix.
Mhm.
First prefix usually around 6 or thereabouts. Second prefix is somewhat later, and then of course you have morning tea, and then you have lunch. Some people have started doing second lunch, but in my opinion, it hasn't exactly caught on. And then of course there's lunch, and then there's afternoon tea. Oh, I forgot about elevenses.
11sies. What is that?
Well,
Valnith,
judging by the
It's-
name, I suppose it's a meal taken at 11 o'clock.
that seems like too
That
much
is
to eat.
exactly correct.
How do you have the ability to be able to do anything during a day when you're eating all the time?
Well, that is the day.
I mean, makes sense to me.
And clearly, it makes sense to Belgo and Rufus too.
Yes, so 11s, yes, morning tea, and then 11s, and then lunch. And then you have your afternoon tea, dinner, and supper.
Sounds nice. I'm not the
This
kind
is
to put
supper.
down a meal.
Just context.
Hey, Kyle, could you just chuck up Theodric's little picture? I'm gonna just turn my cam off. No one needs to see me spluttering and coughing all night.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
My face is bright red and I feel like death warmed over, so
Oi.
Don't overdo it. Don't
nobody
overdo
needs
it.
to see me doing that.
If you need to go.
No, that's the problem, is that I feel fine, right?
Okay.
But like I feel fine because I just can't stop coughing. Like it's not even like a sore cough.
Mm.
It's not
Feel
a
better, buddy.
cough. It's just
Feel better. Yeah. But yeah, well, it's interesting. It's interesting learning about this Hobbit culture. It's quite fascinating, and it's very interesting meeting a relative of Bilbo Baggins. He's your relative, and it seems like that's very, very important. You must be very proud of him. No?
Bilbo Baggins. Did someone mention Bilbo Baggins?
Would Valnith know anything about the Sackville Bagginses and the relationship?
there's
with-
no way.
You know what I've told you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the lineage.
That, yeah, you know the lineage.
It's true. I do know the lineage, but I guess he still is unaware of the politic
Oh, yeah.
behind
Yeah.
the hate,
Absolutely.
and so I'm sure he'll learn at some point one of these days. Bilbo, we
Or will
mentioned
he?
enough.
But yeah,
impressed
you
that-
don't
that
get
just
much of a
means-
reply from Jess as it is interrupted by the ever enthusiastic Dodie.
Yep. Nice. All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm tuckered out and I'm ready for bed.
Of
It's been
course.
quite a long time. So I don't know about you, Theodric, but I think I'm gonna go over my notes and get reacquainted with this thing. And he holds up his notebook.
Did you ever find your bracer, Valinus?
Did I ever find my bracer?
You did.
Sweet.
Yes.
It's on then.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean this, Theodric? Yes. Why, yes, I did. I'm happy it was amongst our luggage. Luckily, it was just still right in my bag.
Nice. Oh, yes. Some rest would probably do us all very well. I'm sure Belgo's exhausted.
Yeah.
So perhaps it is a good idea to tuck in for the night.
Do you think we could stay here for a couple of days like Valinith and Theodric said? I know we have a schedule, and immediately Baldur, he says, huh. Well, if one good thing came out of our capture, we made it through those woods much faster than anticipated. I will say, spending some time in the furthest homely house of the Shire sounds like a good idea to me. Yes. Thanks, Da. Thanks. And don't worry about this individual over here, Kalar. Kalar, is that his name?
Oh yeah, I forgot he was there.
Don't worry about
Okay.
him. We will cover his fee. We're unsure where his next whereabouts are going to be, but we'll talk it over. We'll see if we can maybe bring him to Woodland Hall with us. They're pretty welcoming of outsiders there.
Very well. If morning should come, and any of you should wish to meet with me for Enterprise lessons in healing or anything else, I will be in yon field. I wish you a very pleasant evening. And she'll move on.
Good to hear. It was nice to meet you, Miss Jessamine. And I look forward to meeting you, making your acquaintance further on tomorrow. I'm curious about your healing ways.
And you, Valinith,
Good night.
son of Morbeth.
It's nice to meet you, and I'm really excited for the second breakfast thing. 7 meals is a lot, but I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
It looks like you could out-eat a hobbit any day you wish.
Do you hear that, Da? He's like, don't get any ideas. We're not gonna make a hobbit out of this.
Oh.
And then Valinith rapes him and like, you've been practicing. I see your puns.
And you all get ready for the evening. But as you do so, Jess leaves to kind of depart to get ready. One nice thing about the Easterly Inn is it actually has hobbit holes as far as a residence outside. And so you actually have a private room, Jess, here at the Easterly Inn that is a hobbit hole underneath the ground. And so you actually depart out the front door and it closes. But probably about a minute or two passes as you begin gathering your things, Valinith and Theodric, and you see the door open again. And from your sight at the table, you don't see anybody walk through. But it does close, and you immediately hear Rufus has stood up tall and is like looking, like staring at something like on the ground, like near like the entrance to the door, and it's just like not agitated, but like very alert and proper.
I guess obviously Valin's like, whoa, calm down, dog, what is the matter? And he goes over.
And he goes over and he sniffs, and you lean over and you see that he is sniffing what looks to be the behind of another dog. This dog is much smaller. It is not a wolfhound. It's not a small dog, but probably more of like a medium-sized dog. And they begin kind of like circling each other, and immediately Rufus, he sits back and like sits kind of on his hind legs and like looks at like this dog like very confused. And this new dog kind of whimpers and immediately Rufus, he stands up and he goes and he sits over on the table, his hind legs like in a chair and his paws immediately on the table like a person sitting in the chair right next to you, Valinith.
Valinith is aghast. What's going on here? Who he doesn't know what's happening?
And immediately chuckling, Agatha, she makes her way over to the table and says, "Huh. Oh, this is Shadrach. He is, well, he's a local dog around these here parts, and he seems to have taken a liking to us, and so we've taken it upon ourselves to adopt him. He's a wonderful, wonderful good boy. He came around, I believe it was within the first week of us establishing the Easterly Inn, and he's done a good job of taking care of us here, I would say. He's very impressive. He was already completely trained before we even did anything, as far as training. He is the goodest of the boys that you could ever imagine. Shadrach, this is, well, Valinith? Theodric, and she goes ahead and she introduces Shadrach, and his eyes lock onto each of you as if there is like a deep understanding and connection.
Okay, can Theodric's brain right now is like, huh, we're in the land of the Bjornings who are shape changers. This dog has a human-like intelligence and is acting very suspicious. Can I do an insight check to see if, you know, there's anything giving it away?
Make an insight check.
That is a 16.
16. You examine this dog, and the intelligence itself is just bewildering to you. But you've seen your fair share of animals, and you've seen your fair share of dogs. This is a rather intelligent breed. But this is far more intelligent than you could think of. But nothing is determining it any other than a dog. But the way that it's behaving and the way that it interacts, you see that it goes on its way and it like checks in with everybody, like kind of like putting its nose to everybody just to make sure that everyone like needs something. It kind of follows behind like a Dindy or a Dando and Rodri, kind of corralling them in line, and then even to like Dodie, just like sitting back and watching this dog at work doing its thing. It's less that they adopted this dog and more that this dog has adopted them. It does not seem to be any kind of skin changer from what you can tell. It seems like just a dog, but it's definitely not just a dog. And throughout all of this, like you see literally like Rufus just following behind in tow. Just, yeah, like he's very much
Like
trying to learn from this dog.
At command, or like
Yes,
as
every
in, like,
little bark that the dog gives, it begins like Rufus like does exactly what this dog wants it to do.
impressive.
You think?
Wow.
I mean, he's
Wow.
doing stuff after this dog like kind of like barks and whatnot.
Well, nice to meet you, good lad. And Valinith gives him a pat on the head and then wipes off his hand.
He goes, and he like as you lean down to pat his head, he like offers you his forehead as you begin like patting. Very silky smooth fur. And yeah, this is not only is it a intelligent dog, but it's also a very clean dog. It makes Rufus just look abysmal comparatively.
Look,
Rufus,
Rufus was never that clean to begin with. We got him off the
No.
streets. He's a
Yeah.
trash dog.
He's a garbage dog.
we washed him. We washed him in the waters of Esgaroth. Kind
I
of.
mean,
Like that did anything. Let's be honest.
I like the moment Jalen's gone, I've become Rufus's most ardent supporter.
she loves you for it.
Oh, he's a good boy. He's just a very.
He's
very
a good stinky boy.
Alex turns the new dog, and he's just like, and then turns to Rufus and says, "Rufus, you can learn a thing or two from this one."
Ooh.
While this dog saga is going on, Theodric is going to approach. Who's at the bar right now? Is it Amanda or Dodie?
Dodie. So Agatha just checked in with you.
Agatha,
and,
sorry.
But yeah,
not
Dodie
Amanda.
is doing his thing at the bar, and he's busying himself something. You have no idea, but.
Excuse me, Dodie.
Ah, yes, Theodric. What can I do for you?
Yes.
Do you have any apples by chance that I could grab?
Only the
Apple.
best apples that the Breland has to offer. And he goes back and he opens like this crate, and as he does so, like there's almost kind of like a as like some air is released. Oh, this is a fresh batch. As he pulls out and he takes out this like crisp yellow apple and he offers it to you.
Thank you. Our horses and ponies have had a rough time of it, so
Horses
I'm gonna
and
go check
ponies! Why didn't you tell me that you brought such majestic animals? Come, come, come. And he's, again, a very short hobbit, but he begins tugging at, like, your, like, shirt. Come, come, we actually have those who are paying customers. We have a stabling service just for situations such as this. No, 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 no. This cannot stand. How long have you been here? 1, 2 hours? I can't believe your steeds have just been. And you leave. You leave out the front door, and he leads you over to. Oh, what a majestic animal this is! And he puts his hand like on, like not cautiously at all, on like Baradrock's leg. Ooh, those muscles, the rippling intensity. And he takes one look back at you, Theodric. You have raised a fine steed. These other ponies, they're a little rotund. They need some exercise.
Yes, well, to be fair, those are the caravan ponies of Mr. Beldor. But yes, Baradrock is a Rohan warhorse, and I have raised him since he was a foal.
Oh, a warhorse, you say? You know, Bilbo Baggins had his fair share of combat. In fact, and he goes on and begins to talk about his adventures in the Battle of the Five Armies. And, you know, Bilbo says that he wasn't so involved. If anything, he said he just sat back during the Battle of the Five Armies and just thought to himself, this is all such pointless conflict. But I know him. He came back with a sword, and so he had to have used it, of course. And you, look at you, strapping lad. You said you're from Rohan. This is a Rohan war steed. These ponies here. No second breakfast for you, but off to the stables we go. And he's like not even giving you a chance to interject.
That's okay. Theodric's just happy to be looking after the horses again.
And you
Doing
make
the
your
only thing
way.
he's been doing for the last few weeks.
Yes, but he hasn't been really allowed
Yes,
to
doing
interrupt.
your labor.
He hasn't been really allowed to interact with Baradrock. Like
True.
Look, okay.
everyone's been like, all the elves would eye him whenever he approached his own horse.
Tis true. Tis true. And with that, your evening, dusk begins to set on the Easterly Inn, and your evening comes to a close. A very warm and welcoming respite after month-long journey within the Mirkwood. And spring is well been sprung as early summer begins to set on Wilderland. We'll come back, by the way, to you guys. To more information to follow. Back inside Mirkwood.
Oh, here we go.
Good luck, dude.
Back inside the eaves of Mirkwood. Not the eaves. Inside Mirkwood. Feanor sits pinned beneath Nymphialion as essentially Maeglin thrusts himself into the body. You're able just to bend up enough to see him bite by bite be completely devoured by this giant creature. His maw extends about 3 or 4 feet, easily swallowing Maeglin whole. You hear a guttural cry as he goes, "Ah!" It's just this war cry as he gets consumed little by little inside. As he looks at each of you, immediately the elves that surround you, and from what you can remember, we'll reintroduce some of the characters and kind of like where they are here on the map. So these guys are just regular Mirkwood elves. This guy right here is Taladir. This guy is Calithir. And this is Mjolnir back here. And then Maeglin is inside. So, and then, and so, with that being the case, I'm going to have you, Feanor, roll for initiative.
I got a 22. I rolled a nat 20 on that. Great. Let's hope my luck holds.
Absolutely. And so with that, immediately the elves that are surrounding the area, a number of them have been slaughtered. Actually, only a fraction of the elves that started in the company have survived, have made their way out of the forest. You see, kind of surrounding, a number of spiders, about a spider for every elf creep its way. You see a number of carcasses as well of addercops. These elves have done everything that they can to fight off these vile creatures and put an end to them. But it seems quickly and very menacingly, Savage Taller and his cohort have begun to encroach, circling each of you into a small ring, essentially led by you, Nornir, Taladir, and Kalathir, and a handful of elves. We're going to go ahead and start with the elves. Somehow they did roll higher on their initiative, so they're going to go ahead and jump into combat where they can. So this one's going to tie himself up there. This one is going to tie combat there. So they are just within, you can see that each of these combats are just within the tree line, so they're still barely within view, but it's going to tie this one up here, this one here, this one's going to be fine. Tie this one up, and this one 10 to tie this one up, and this one 5, 10 to tie this one up. Fortunately, they rolled high enough to be able to make it so all the spiders aren't making a mad dash for you, but they're going to go ahead and do that and begin some rounds of combat. So they have a number of weapons on them. Mostly these elves use daggers and spears. They're going to be using a mixture of both. And so this first one is going to be using his spear. So he's going to make his first attack here. I'll try to speed through this. He ends up hitting, and he deals 6 points of damage to this spear. The second one is, so this one is not tied up. So the second one, he's going to, whack him. And he's going to use his daggers to attack this guy. And he is just going to hit with 14. And he's going to deal 4 points of damage to this one. And then this one is also going to tie up. And I can quickly, without narrating it all, just do all of that, because now it is your turn, Feynor, as I calculate all the damages and everything. What are you planning on?
Look, honestly, the main thing, Savage Chore seems a little bit busy, at least for the exact moment. Pretty much all that I was going to be doing was trying to get me and them up on our feet, so using half act movement for that, and then just taking the disengage action and then raging.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've spent half your movement to become unthrown. Just to stand. Nim, he stands up. He's looking fairly injured as well.
More than halfway to dead.
Yeah. And you can see Cranthiel. She looks, and as actually Maeglin gets devoured, she lets out this like guttural scream, like no, as Maeglin just gets completely consumed. But immediately her attention is around as she readies her spear. What do we do, Feynor? What do we do? As she begins backing up, like into you, like basically like her back facing your back.
We need to get away from that. Look, running isn't my first instinct. Something tells me that if that can happen to Maeglin, it's going to happen to all of us. We need to work our way out of here. We need to get who we can out. Survival itself is going to be difficult.
I've never seen anything like this, Feynor. And she takes one look at Nim and says, I don't know if he's going to be able to escape. And she immediately pulls out Athelis from her bag and begins in the spider bite. We need to quench the poisoning. And she puts it inside the wounds of Nim. And Nim can heal 3 HP as he gets healed just a small amount. I'm afraid there's not much I can do, Feynor. If it comes to combat, you know me, I can maybe hold my own, but not against creatures this big.
Granthiel, if it comes to it, he is my friend, but he is just a deer. You're more important to me in this. I'll
She
fight
takes-
tooth and nail to keep him alive, but he is just a deer. And like Feanor looks like, as much as everything around him is terrifying, like even the idea of that is like hard, like really hard on him.
Can you roll an initiative for Nim as well?
Yes. He got a 17.
17. Awesome. While that was all happening, you notice that the elves around have begun fighting off these spiders, doing actually a decent amount. Every single one of them have landed their mark against the spiders in combat. But again, as you have experienced in previous encounters, their carapaces are quite strong, and it takes a lot more than just a few spear thrusts to take down these large creatures. But
Who's the elf actually? Sorry, that I was training with. Sorry, I was trying.
Nornir, so this one.
Actually, sorry. Continue what you were saying. If given the chance, Feanor's going to say something here, but finish.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just wanted to double check that.
Feel free, absolutely.
Basically, when we were first describing when Feanor first got like the inkling that something was wrong, he basically got the elves who were patrolling to put oil over the path. Is that still here? Like,
Yes, actually. So actually, let me go ahead and use these as markers for oil. There were a few places that oil was spilled. It's gonna be here. It's going to be back where the caravan originally was. A couple places there. Come on, duplicate. There we go.
apologies.
No worries. It's actually good because I completely forgot about that. And then it's gonna be. And so some oil was spilled. These are immediately flammable if you would like to light them on fire. So yes, it is still there.
Yeah, Nornir, use flames to drive them back. I've had great experience, I've had great luck with it. Even if it just buys us time for us to escape.
You use flamethrower.
Fortunately, Nornir knows exactly what you're saying, and he says, "Yes, my thoughts indeed." And immediately he pulls out from his satchel what looks to be a fire starter kit, and he says, "I'll go ahead and start putting some of these trees on fire. It looks like that there are some oil spots, and actually, coincidentally, it is his turn immediately after, right before Nim's turn. So he's going to make his way over here, and he's going to light this one on fire as it begins. And he's going to use his action in order to fire an arrow at Savage Taller. He's very large, so he doesn't have to make any melee checks, but he's going to go ahead and with his bow make a shot, and that is not going to hit. It hits the carapace and just breaks. As Tuller's, and he's finally noticed you in front. It is not his turn yet, but he has noticed you as he is engulfed and gulps down. Which brings us to Nim's turn. So I'm assuming half his movement is getting up, and then whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah. He would also just be taking essentially like the evade, because at the moment, like we can't really, like, we don't want him to move, but I want him to basically have it so that he's trying to evade Savage Staller's attacks.
For sure.
At the very least.
And as this happens, next is going to be
Corinthia already had her turn. The Addercops. And so this one's going to go ahead and tie up right next to you, but start basically jumping out of the Mirkwood, almost on top of Taladir. He's going to make a dexterity save, to which he fails. And so the Addercop pins him down and just begins snapping as he drops basically his spear and is like keeping the spider from biting him. He's going to go ahead and I'm going to do, in a very quick fashion, just quickly narrate all of what's going on here. Fortunately, the attack missed. This Addercop here is going to make an attack, a bite attack, which hits, and it deals 8 points of damage to this elf, immediately slaying him. This one is going to fight this elf, hitting on the attack and dealing 7 points of damage there. This one is going to go ahead and make an attack against that elf. And with a nat 16, or nope, not nat 16, this is never last. It's 16, but that is going to hit. And he is going to receive 8 points of damage there. This one is going to make a bite attack against this elf, to which he misses. This one is going to make a bite attack against this elf, to which he gets a natural 20, so that's maximum damage. Slaying this elf. And then this one is going to make an attack against this one. And that is going to miss. And then this one is going to make an attack against this one, to which that's going to miss as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Fires have started to smolder from Nornir as he looks around and says, "We need to fend off their leader. We have to do it now. If he flees, maybe there's a chance of them fleeing as well." And yeah, the fire was a good idea. The fire was a very, very good idea. But that brings us to...
Flames haven't let Feanor down yet. He's killed like every mini boss basically with that he's come across.
Yeah, there we go.
What you're trying to say is fire has a 100% success rate.
Much like my net, yes.
Pretty strong.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the net.
Just
Fire-
throw your
wait,
net at it.
I can just throw it
Fire
on
to
Savage
your net.
Taller. Why can't I? Yeah, you know what? I'll set my net on fire, throw it on Savage Taller, it deals extra.
I'm gonna next is gonna be Taladir. He's gonna make a contested strength check with this guy, to which he wins and is able to push it off. With half of his movement, he's gonna get up and he is going to make an attack. He pulls out essentially his spear, very impressive looking spear. It's called a biter spear, and he's gonna attack it. To which he rolls a freaking natural 20, which essentially what biter
There's my
does.
favorite racist elf.
Taladir. The shining
He's
light.
just young.
Shining light in the darkness. No, so essentially what the biter spear does is on a critical hit, which fortunately I just rolled a crit, it deals an additional 2d8 damage. So it's max damage plus 2d8. So let me go ahead and roll that real quick. Oh my gosh. That is going to be a total of 24 points of damage, immediately slaying it. Basically, he is able to shove this spider off and basically take his spear, just shove it directly into its eyes to hear like this squelching squeal as it just like crumbles down to the ground. Yeah, that is a very, very good.
Now he just needs to do that to Savage Taller a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
We should have been
actually
giving
say-
him inspiration instead of Feanor.
Oh my god. Saying this next sentence would be like, Taladir, stop flanking Savage Taller. Do what Nornir said. Light flames where you can. We need to drive him back.
Yes, I think so. And he immediately kind of readies himself, but he looks into the face of Savage Taller, and you can tell that he is horribly afraid of this creature, as anyone would be. But that does bring us to Calathir's turn, to which he is going to... He also shrieks, Maeglin! Maeglin, no! And he pulls out his biter spear, and he's going to go ahead and attempt to attack, basically, from the side, Savage Taller here, with his spear. See how this goes, but yeah, that's the plan. Ooh, oh, not a nat 20, but he hits.
I was gonna ask, does that count as flanking, just by the way, because Savage Taller is facing us and he's large? I just don't understand how that works with like a bigger creature.
Yeah, and so in this case, it would probably need at least one more creature in combat, because big creatures like him are like pretty battle aware of like everything that's around it.
Fair enough.
But it would need more creatures for it.
Well, look, Maeglin, like...
True, he's in the belly. He's in the belly of the beast.
Maeglin is not an active combatant at this time.
Whoa, that's offensive.
He was offensive when he killed me, so...
Chopping him up on the
Yeah, and
inside.
he was an excellent combatant back then. We need that right now.
There was no combat. It was just a hammer.
Exactly.
His target was a bound child.
Look, I would appreciate the assistance. I don't care where from.
Maybe he just needs to picture the inside of the Savage Taller as the hands of a small child, and then he'll
Oh
be
my
fine.
god. Oh, that's Savage Taller's one weakness. He's actually a small child. He has a mother. That means he's a child. He can sleep.
He has a weakness
Oh.
to mallets.
Okay. Yeah. Maeglin's one target was the hands of a small child while the kid was bound, and then he missed.
Oh, and
so
then he
what
missed.
does that tell you about Maeglin's
Oh
combatant
no, I'm gonna
abilities?
die. Oh no.
By the way, that's 8 points of damage as he stabs him with his biter spear, and it does stab through the carapace, and there's like a squelch, no response by Savage Taller, but and he just pulls it out as all this black liquid also comes out as well. I'll get you out of there, Maeglin! And he just like begins essentially doing this. He's gonna go ahead and make his second attack against, to which that is going to be a miss. It tinks off the side of his carapace, which brings us to the top of the round. Yeah, that's going to be the elves as well. They're just going to continue to do their fight, and while they're doing that, Feanor, tell me what you're going to be doing, so I don't have to narrate all that.
That's fine. Essentially, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be moving back towards Norni. And as I'm leaving, I'm going to slap him on the rear, so that on his turn, essentially, he's going to try and flee.
Okay.
But basically doing that, and then grabbing Caranthiel, I'm going to get as close to Nornia as I can, and I'm going to stab that spider down to his left. More or less. Because like, I want to slap and then run over to the spider and stab.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do this kind of one at a time. So I'm gonna have you slap him, make an animal handling check for that. I'm gonna say that this is your bonus action to slap.
Yep, that's fair. 14.
14. So you successfully do so, meaning you get to choose which direction he begins fleeing into.
He's going to go to the north side.
So on his turn, he's going to run full speed to the north. You said
if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, I got you. So at this point, do you want to go down or to the side here?
Just up there, above it.
Yeah, you've engaged in combat with a very scary big spider.
And I'm going to try and attempt to hit it with my great spear. Actually, can I be below Nornia because I have the 10-foot range? I just realized for my great spear.
Perfect.
So I'm going to attempt to hit it with my great spear.
All right.
A nat 20 for 24.
That'll hit.
So that does the max damage, right?
Yep, maximum damage.
That does 28 damage.
That is insane.
That spider exploded.
Yeah, he's very good. At full HP, you brought him down from full HP, so You just took your spear very similar to the Taladir. You don't know if it's just, this fight or flight instinct within you, but you take your spear and just boom, thrust it through. As it goes through its face, then out kind of like the back by its abdomen, just and you basically, this thing falls, and yeah, it's very dead.
None, grab what oil you can. We're gonna start withdrawing, but we need to be ready to set a large fire to cover our escape.
Yes, I would agree with that. And he immediately dips one of his arrows into the fire that's set. We only have a limited time to be able to do this. A lot of the trees here are dead. It should be able to catch. By the way, this elf did not hit. This elf did not hit. This elf got a natural 1 and didn't hit. This elf didn't hit, and this elf did hit, taking 2 points of damage from the... So, that was not a great round of combat.
It's fine. For me, I took all the damage. Basically, I'm gonna say to Nornir, it doesn't matter if it harms the spiders. It just needs to obscure their vision. As much smoke, cover our smell, cover their vision. Then we can escape down the path.
Yes, of course. Smart thinking, Feanor. And immediately it goes into Caranthiel's turn, and so she takes essentially 10 feet and makes her way in the middle and says, Taladir, are you okay? You're not hurt. And he shakes himself off and says, No, I'm not. We need to get Maeglin back. And immediately she's going to make a wisdom saving throw. And that is going to be a 12. With that, she is going to hold fast. She's not going to move any further towards you, Feanor, but she's also not moving any further towards Savage Taller. And she says, I can't leave him. But Feanor, what do I do? And she, just a healer. And she looks very, very confused with all of this. Steady yourself, oh my gosh, I forget. Caranthiel. Steady yourself, Caranthiel.
Fine, you've got so many people in combat that you're dealing with, so it is okay.
It's all good. And with that, she's going to go ahead and stop there, bringing us to Nornir's turn. And so with Nornir, he's going to take his bow and he's going to attempt... He already... So he's dipping as his bonus action. 25 to get a shot at this one. To which he's going to go ahead and roll. And a nat 20, immediately lighting both of these. Man, these nat 20s. And immediately the flames begin to flicker, hitting the oil patches from behind Savage Taller. Savage Taller hasn't noticed this yet, but the flames are slowly going to be able to lick closer. Oh, and I forgot.
To spread the flame.
It's going to catch into the trees. Okay. Yes, it's gonna start getting real hot real soon here. And with that, that brings us down to another shot by basically Nornir, and he's going to shoot at Savage Taller as well. Hopefully you get another nat 20. That'd be sweet. And no, with the nat 3, he misses. And so, and then again, right off the carapace. Weapons seem no good against him. I've never seen something quite armored like that, especially a creature such as him. As he is going to spend the rest of his movement, 5, 10, to make his way back towards you. And with that, that brings us to the spiders. So this one is going to attack this elf. Do this real quick. That's going to miss. This one is going to attack this elf. And that is going to hit for a grand total of 8 points of damage, which successfully kills this elf. And this one is going to make an attack against him. which he misses, and this one is going to make an attack against him, to which he misses, and this one's going to make an attack against him, which he misses. And so, a decently okay combat, just in general. But yeah, that brings us to Tailadire's turn. Oh no, this one's gonna move in. Oh, Nim. He moved off. I skipped his turn.
Yeah.
And he's off the map, so he's officially escaped.
Thank God. Even if Feanor dies.
Yeah, he's gonna go into Tailadire probably. And you begin to hear them shriek, "The flames! The flames!" And immediately Savage Taller is brought to the attention, and now he's going to start moving and attacking as of this turn. That's fun. He got a natural one, by the way, on his first round. So that's why he skipped his first round of combat.
I was wondering about that.
Yep.
Honestly, I thought you might have your thing.
Yeah, no, natural ones suck when it comes to initiative, so at least first turn initiative. And so, Tailadire is going to make his attack. He just, these blasted spiders! Maeglin, I'm coming! And he's going to hit the spider, not with a crit, but he's going to deal a total of 6 points of damage to the spider. Bringing us down to Calathir. He's going to make his basically 2 attacks. So biter spears, go, natural 20, please. An 8 is going to miss, and a 12 is going to miss as well. So, bing, bing, just like 2 basically unable to hit his weak spots again. Yeah, this is not a good time. Which then, well, we have Savage Taller. So I'm going to have Feanor, Corinthial, not Feanor. So Corinthial, Tailadire, Calathir, and this elf are going, and Nornir are going to be making Wisdom saving throws, DC 16. So Corinthial, she just passes, literally at a 16. Tailadire passes with a 20. Calathir fails with a natural 2, and then the elf passes with a natural 18. And so, with that being the case, Calathir is now terrified of this creature, which essentially means that he must spend his turn moving as far away from it as possible. So he is basically, he repeats his save at the end of each combat round. So he'll, at the end of this combat round, he'll do that. So that's one of his actions, and then he's also going to make his attack. He has 2 attacks. 1 attack against Calathir. To which that is going to be a maybe not a hit. Nah, it's definitely a hit. He uses his beak attack as he begins turning around. So just picture him turning around and grabbing him like in his giant pincers as he begins squeezing him as if to break him. That is going to be 12 points of piercing damage. Yeah, Calathir is not looking good. He was already a little bit bruised and battered from the combat as it was, but he's now just these pincers have begun cutting into his arms. No! As he begins fighting Savage Taller, but Savage Taller looks like he is going to be having his way with Calathir at this moment. Which brings us to the top of the round. So these elves, well, fire's spreading in all directions. This elf is now in an area where it's completely engulfed in flames. These, because it's just oil on the ground, are going to spread much less. So only one per. It'll eventually spread and catch, but yeah. So the trees and stuff are basically light with fire. This elf, seeing that the canopy above him has been completely engulfed in flames, he's going to use the disengage action and attempt to flee. Deeper into the wood, though he did that successfully. This elf is going to use his spear and attempt to attack this guy, to which he hits, and he deals 6 points of damage to Spiter. And then this one is going to attack him, where he hits and is going to deal 3 points of damage to this spider, and this spider is, or this elf is not terrified, which is convenient, and he is going to, actually, he's going to disengage. And make his way over here. He's going to actually attempt to light this on these. And he successfully does. So, all of the spots thus far are now set. That was not a natural 20, so the other one does not like this. Alright, sweet. And so that's what we're going to do for the elves' turn. Feanor, it is your turn.
I am going to run up and actually assist this elf on the far left. And I'm going to see if I can attempt the other way, the elf that's fighting the spider. Yeah, and I'm going to attempt to, while standing next to him, attempt to finish off the spider.
Perfect.
Or at least try and hit it. But as he's running, he's actually going to say, just like to people in general, the battle is lost! To honor Maeglin's like his dream, we must flee! If we die here, it dies with us! But then I am going to try and kill this one. So.
Alright, as you do so, the elf looks at you as if, like, very welcoming. Like, there's fear in his eyes, but he sees that you come, bearing the spear, and with these words, he shakes his head in encouragement. Go ahead and roll your attack.
15.
That'll hit.
And I deal 12 damage.
And with that, crunching through another spider, this one is down. You're right. Everybody flee! Leave now! And yeah, that's great, because that brings us down to Parenthial. She is going to make a 15-foot move, and she's also going to make another wisdom saving throw. And this is going to be at less of DC. So she actually fails it, so she's going to move 10 feet closer back to her kind of original position. And she takes out basically a piece of flint and is going to attempt to set this on fire. So she does very successfully. Everything is caught ablaze at this point, which brings us down.
Feanor thinks to himself, "This is the third time I've let them out on fire. It's 2 months."
True.
My father would be disappointed.
Nornir, he in complete control. He's going to make his way to the middle and say, "Everybody flee! The battle is lost! We must continue on for Maeglin's sake!" And he goes ahead, he's going to fire his arrow into this spider group. So first arrow is going to be a hit, and that is going to be 9 points of piercing damage. So, And then the second attack is going to hit, and that is going to be 6 points of piercing damage, which kills this one. Nim is already out of battle, which brings us then to the Adder Comps. And so this one is, because he's so close to the fire, going to make a wisdom saving throw. He got a nat 20. He is good to go. Basically going headlong into Tailadier. This one is just, going to engage here. This one is going to attack Caelothier. This one's going to continue fighting. Yes. So that's what's going to happen. And then, with that being the case, combats. So we're going to go ahead and do this one first. So this spider against Tailadier. And he's going to go ahead and use actually his stinger attack. With a nat 20 is going to hit, meaning Tailadier is poisoned. But he only takes 2 points of damage. But he is poisoned, meaning his checks will be at disadvantage now. This spider is going to do a bite attack at Tailadier. To which he got a natural 19, meaning he is going to hit, and he's going to inflict 9 points of piercing damage.
Is that the first damage that he's taken this combat? Sorry.
This combat, he was slightly wounded before, but he's not as nearly as wounded as Caelothier.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do this spider against Caelothier. He's going to miss. And we're going to do this spider against this elf. He's going to miss. And that's all of them. Sweet. Which brings us down to Tailadier. He is poisoned. He's not feeling good. He's going to go ahead and make his attacks against this one that's in front of him that poisoned him. Well, he got a nat 20, so Biter Spear again. So many nat 20s. Is it going to keep track? Just kidding. You don't need to keep track of my nat 20s. But that is going to be 26 points of damage, easily taking this spider down, puncturing him through. And he's got a second attack, so he's going to use it against this spider.
Oh yeah.
A 16 is going to hit, and he's going to deal 4 points of piercing damage to that spider. Bringing it down to Caelothier, so he is currently grappled by Savage Taller, so he's going to do a contested strength check. He beat him, so he is not there, but he is also he is freaking ripped, but he's also terrified too. So, I needed to roll last time. Well, he's no longer terrified. So at the end of last turn, he got rid of his terrifiedness. He has sturdied himself, and he is continuously, savagely attacking Savage Taller with his Biter Spear. To which, a freaking another natural 20 for his first attack. He's going to go ahead and do that, plus an additional 2d8.
I don't look forward to our next session. It's just going to be nat 1s and 3s everywhere.
I know. And, well, it's all me, so it's not affecting your guys' rolls. It's all my rolls.
Still.
At least it's not like Savage Taller and stuff like doing this. This would be bad news if that was the case.
Now you've said it. Oh no.
That is going to be 12 points of piercing damage into Savage Taller. Wasn't great biting damage, but that was pretty good. Which then brings us down to Towler's turn, and because the flames are right at his back, he is going to go ahead and make a saving throw, a wisdom saving throw. And with a natural 1.
Let's go! Yeah,
Oh my
Thanos saves the
God.
day.
You are kidding.
With fire.
God.
With fire. I am awesome. No, get rid of Gandalf. I now have the ring of fire. Who cares?
You are the
I
fire
am
wizard.
awesome.
Holder of the sacred flame of Anor.
Yeah,
looks-
that's Feanor now.
Basically, Savage Taller, he looks in every direction, and he sees that nothing but flames are going up all around him. And you hear him say, "Live to feast another day," as he jumps, completely leaps, and then the rest of his movement, he is off the battle map. Battle is still going, and fires are a thing
fine.
still. So we're gonna go ahead and jump to the top of the round, meaning that now all of the spiders are going to have to make a Wisdom saving throw courage checks, regardless of whether they're by fire. If they're within 5 feet of fire, then they're gonna have disadvantage on it. But fire's spreading, so. Meaning that, yeah, they're... It's beginning to smell like soot and poo. But it's beginning to smell like soot. And everything is going... Yeah, everything is going black. Like black, like thick smoke. It's become definitely the fog of war for sure, yeah. The path, it hasn't caught onto the trees, and it's, after this turn, it's going to start to fall into more of a smolder, but these ones that are right next to trees are definitely catching. Which again brings, unfortunately, elves into the fray, meaning he actually has to do a saving throw for me at the start of his turn. So, all right, which it is the start of his turn. So, Calathir, what is he gonna do? He's gonna make a Wisdom saving throw. This is going to be whether he chases Savage Taller into the woods or he decides to retreat. He failed epically, meaning he's going to take the disengage action. And he has fled into the woods after basically screaming, "Maeglin, no! Maeglin, my lord!" as he basically runs off into the forest after Savage Taller. This one, that's not him. I don't know why I rolled Calathir. Oh no, that was just him. Yeah, that was Caleb. I don't know why I rolled him. It's fine. I rolled him already. Elves. This one is going to make the disengage action. And make his way over next to you, Feanor, and says, "Stay out of the trees. They're infesting every direction." And then, this one...
Smoke should drive them out.
Yes, that was a smart idea on your part. Let's make a run on the elf path. As soon as we leave under here, they should...
to me!
And with
and
that...
going to, like, the elf up in the woods above me and stuff. Like, trying to just gather everyone with me before I run off.
Mm-hmm. Constitution saving throw, which this guy underneath this flame fails, and he's going to take 5 points of fire damage. He begins coughing, but he's able to start running along the side of the path. And then this one, he begins making his way back onto the path, and then that brings us down.
Did any of them actually have any opportunity to attack? Sorry, did any of them dash at all? Just asking.
No, so they're just basically trying to keep up with the rest of the group. None of them, like, seem to want to be, like, abandoning anybody. So they're not sprinting away or, like, dashing or anything.
Okay. I'm going to, like, you know, with my spear kind of point at the spider that's attacking, is it Taladir?
Yes.
And basically tell them to, like, launch a volley of arrows, like, at that spider.
All 4 of them will do so. One got a nat 20, the other hit with a 14. The third one misses, and the fourth one misses. So the natural 20, that is going to be 8 points of piercing damage, and then the other one is going to be 7 points of piercing damage. Yeah, definitely does its thing to the spider, and it seems to be as it is struggling. There's fire literally right at its backside, and it is currently engaged in combat. Corinthial, she seeing that Savage taller, she screams a guttural, "No! No!" And she thinks for but a moment, but she begins to retreat. Fëanor, we need to get out of here! And she's going to go ahead and start retreating back without any need to do any checks or anything. Taladir.
Nornir, help Taladir! Like, basically I'm telling, like, Nornir if he can to help him when he can, and more or less to help carry him if he's that injured.
Yeah, he's taking 2 shots at the spider. So first shot is not going to hit. Second shot is going to hit. For a total of 5 damage, which is enough to take out this spider, meaning Taladir is completely free from combat as he looks at kind of the flames around and he sees the rest of his cohort wondering what to do. But first, these spiders. This one is going to make his wisdom saving throw courage test. He fails, meaning he flees. And then this one is technically not close enough to the flames to be effective, but he is still going to make his courage check because Taller's gone, and he is going to fail as well. Meeting combat has come officially.
Yeah. So I'm going to. Fëanor is going to like run up with past Nornir and be like, "Quick!" And we're going to get Taladir put an arm over each shoulder, and we're just more or less just going to start running down the path, more or less carrying him, getting him towards Corinthial. Hopefully she can do something to help save against the poison.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just going to be, for now, it's like, everyone, perimeter! So I want the other elves to form a little perimeter around us. Norni is leading. At this point, I'll just be helping Taladir and Corinthial's there. And we're going to move down the path, and they're going to take pot shots at anything that even comes around. More or less, Norni is the head guide for us at the moment.
Right.
If he sees something, we attack it.
Nornir it does a very good job at this, but Fëanor, I'm going to have you, as you continue to flee and the flames begin to spread around you, I'm going to have you make a essentially what this is going to be is a survival check in order to determine pace of your retreat out of here, and also to determine if any other dangers are within. So, survival check.
Yep. I got a 15.
15, and so you at a pretty good pace begin to sprint out of there. During this time, Corinthial, she's done what she can to try to stabilize him, not necessarily cure the poison, but as you are running, she actually takes out what looks to be this kind of herb, and she begins to crush it up as you begin to run, kind of hobble, because as you're helping Taladir, she begins to crumple it up, and she begins to speak into her hands, and there's a small flash of light. She's going to go ahead and use her Hands of a Healer ability on Taladir. And with this being the case, she is going to choose to use it. So this is an option for Hands of the Healer. You can either choose to remove a status ailment, or you can do recover HP. And so she's going to use it to recover his poisoning. And with that, he's completely healed from his...
Can you stand?
I think so. I think so. And he's kind of hobbling.
And I do say to him, you and Nornir, you've been here the longest. Your men need you. Come. We need to get them safely out of here. It's what Maeglin would want. We can't let the dream die with us.
You're right. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he begins to pursue. I told them, the caravan, they should be meeting us at the Fortress gate. You trust their loyalties, don't you? As he
while running, I'm yeah, I trust their loyalty to me. I'm not sure, none of them really seem to be keen to be with you guys, but look, we've gotten to know each other.
Make a persuasion check for me.
I'm not great at that. Look, to be fair,
It could be
17.
persuasion or entertainment, however you want to do it.
Look, I got a 17, but I'll roll the other one just because they're both negative ones.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a 17.
Okay, so with the 17, he laughs. Based how we've treated you, I wouldn't want to be friends with us either. But
Teledier, look, you've been in a tough spot. You have suffered great losses. It's probably going to be many years before your rebellion really picks up pace again. But I'm glad that we got you guys out. You might not be the closest of my friends, but I've come to view you all as my kinsmen, and I hope that one day your dream can be met, perhaps with less bloodshed.
I'm gonna have
perhaps you can be free one day.
I'm gonna have you make an insight check for me. Nornir, again, basically still face completely covered and everything, but he is completely dutiful and is leading the rest of you out. But yes, insight.
But basically, yeah, I got a 16, and like the stuff that I'm saying is based on things that Nornir and I talked about when we were out hunting, and he's like, Maeglin wanted us to be a free peoples, but now it's about taking over the Mirkwood, and like, so trying to use those doubts that were already sown within them to really like hit home on like not what Maeglin's current mission was, but what his dream is of being free.
Out of the kind of winces of pain as you continue to make your way up the elf path, he has a relatively stoic expression, but you can tell that the things that you say to him do ring true, and there's like a spark of inspiration in his eyes as you continue to assist down the elf path. One of the things that is absolutely devastating is you had a cohort of nearly 30 woodland elves, and you have successfully retreated with no more, not including you, 7 of them. This has been absolutely devastating as far as casualties or anything like that is considered. Caranthiel, she says to you as you continue to make trail, Thanor. And you could tell that her face is, she's not sobbing, but her face is completely streamed with tears. You can see that new tears are like welling in her eyes and falling. Thank you. That was smart thinking.
I'm sorry I couldn't save more of them. I know that this is your family.
I couldn't save them either. It's not your fault. It's because of you.
Open your
Open
hearts to your grief. Look, Nornir and Teledier, and you need to be strong.
And she,
I'm sorry I couldn't do more.
She nods. You don't need to apologize. This whole situation, everything that we've put you through, it's not right. I'm in no place to be called your friend. The things that we've done to you, your company, Fëanor, I'm so sorry.
Fëanor, while like this is happening, is just going like, why? Because we're still running. Is just going to reach out and take her hand and say, "There's nothing you could ever do to me that would make us stop being friends. This is one of the closest bonds that I've ever had. Nothing will change that. From what I can see, you were just following a man that you loved. I can't blame you for that, for wanting to follow your friends. These people who took you in. Never doubt it."
Thank you, Fëanor. Thank you for your understanding. It's just so hard being alone. I don't ever want to be alone again. Thank you for saving my friends. What friends that we can. I know, Fëanor. No matter where our paths lead us, you are my home. You are my home, Fëanor. This wood. Family. Fëanor, I want to go home. I want you to come with me. don't want to do this anymore.
That's something we can talk about when we are safe. And we're going to just keep running. Not like pulling back or anything, still holding a hand while we're running, but very much this isn't something he wants to talk about right this second. Noni, how goes the path? Is it clear?
The path ahead is clear. And he examines as he continues to keep running very swiftly, very much the skills of a very adept ranger.
It's why I wanted to put him at the front.
Mm-hmm.
I've first-hand seen his skills, so I know that if he'll be able to detect it before anyone else. Can I actually do a investigation or something to see myself if we're being pursued or if I can see spiders in the trees?
Make investigation check.
12.
About 30 minutes has passed as you've retreated up the elf path. It is quiet. You no longer hear the crackle of the flames. You can still smell the fire behind. The chittering is all but ceased. From what you can tell upon the elf path, you are not being followed or pursued in any way.
Okay, we take a 10-minute rest. Recuperate, like a 15, short rest, more or less. Take the time, see what provisions we have. We're probably going to have to continue on, maybe through the night. It's the only way we're going to be able to guarantee we get far enough.
Corinthial, you guys don't really set up a camp, but you kind of, again, form a perimeter as Corinthial checks on each of the elves to heal their wounds. Most of these elves are on the brink of mortally wounded. Definitely you and Nornir and Corinthial are in the best shape. Taladir and the 4 elves that are with you, they are not so lucky. They are bleeding profusely, and it's actually going to be taking it's going to take Corinthial some time in order to cease their bleeding and whatnot, to which she's able to do to a degree. She's going to go ahead and make some medicine checks here. She does what she can. She heals a little bit of HP from everybody, but some of these wounds and her lack of provisions, pretty much everything was on the cart. She basically had whatever was on her person and then took the spear from the back of the cart in order to join the combat, but running out of all of her materials to be able to help. Unfortunately, she's not able to help too much to agree with more of just stabilizing them to help make them comfortable as they begin to heal on their own. But it's pretty tough. It's a pretty grim situation as far as everything is concerned. And the Nornir kind of continues to basically scan the horizon. We better.
I'm actually going to walk up. Yeah, yes. I was going to walk up just to Nornir and have a discussion. I know the men, they seem in a pretty bad condition, but with Tola himself so close, he's not going to be dissuaded from hunting for long.
No, you're right. Legends of this terrible creature. Well, they've long plagued my ears for the entirety of my time as a ranger. My training has led me to this moment, and yet I feel so insignificant compared to that evil. This is why we avoid the mountains of Mirkwood, where these spiders, these horrible beasts, live.
I suppose the only solace is that once we leave the woods, they'll be much less tempted to come to the fringes to hunt. More likely to stay within their nests within the cover of the canopy.
Indeed.
Where they have a great advantage.
I always thought that never in my life I would see them so far north. But I do believe what you say rings true. The shadow lies within shadow. It fears sunlight. The quicker we can break for the open, for the sky, for the sun, will night give speed to these creatures. We must press on if we are to escape.
Nornir, I have given it some thought. I perhaps know a place where you and your companions may lie low, but I must ask a favor of a friend.
I do consider
Perhaps...
you a friend.
No. I must ask my friend Valineth if he is willing to tell you of where Rivendell is and send you there as friend. It's probably one of the only places that I can think of where Thranduil will not be able to get you. That would be direct war with Rivendell itself. But perhaps it can offer you some solace and some time there to recover.
Feanor, this is a kindness that we do not deserve. Considering the circumstances, not only are we responsible for the death of your companion, but the way we've treated you, the way we've treated everybody that we've preyed upon. Understand it was for survival, and it was nothing personal, but I still feel a fair bit of grief and sadness for it. The views of Maeglin, they weren't always the way they were. But it's clear his actions have led him to the fate that he endured. I will take you up on your offer, Feanor. Me and my brother.
I tell you now quietly, because I cannot guarantee this kindness, but it is something that, if I can see it done, hopefully Elrond may be able to offer you a new direction. As my friend Valineth would say, we elves are a long-lived race, you know? And as much as the past few weeks haven't been pleasant, I am going to live a long life, I think. And so are we all. It is best to move forward and try and be better. Maeglin, he had a dark hold on something in me. And I cannot say I will mourn him now that he is gone. But my friend Valineth believed that even someone who had slain one of our companions deserved a chance to be redeemed. And I put a hand on his shoulder. So I'm going to try and take a hold of that wisdom and that kindness and offer you a chance to redeem yourselves. If you feel a guilt, channel that towards helping others.
Feanor, you know, the original plans of the Wayward Elves were not to take over the halls of Thranduil. We are indeed brethren. Our families are there. If it were up to any of us, we would have not raised a finger to them. Something dark and sinister took hold of Maeglin. And I do fear, even with all of our training and all of our skill, we could not have held a candle to resisting his will. All sense of ration had left him. The shadow was claiming him. I could see it. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in his voice. No longer was he the brother that I knew years back. You're right. People are redeemable. I do find Maeglin fought to the last, and perhaps it's better that he was claimed this way before the shadow completely took hold.
Yes, if any, as much as I have my, misgivings with him, he died honorably, in defense of his friends and family, against a great evil. There is probably not a more noble way to pass on.
You're a good one, Feanor. One so young in years. It's amazing to see how much perspective you bring. I, who've lived so long, hundreds of years, and I have yet to see even a fraction of the world that you have.
Feanor's actually going to do a little laugh. It's like, we'll leave the wood. It is, I know it sounds strange, but look at me, I am strange. I have been able to experience and care, so much. I've traveled with dwarves and made friends. I have come to grow and care about men of different lands. I have spoken with King Bard and been able to make a steadfast friend of him. I have been able to explore so much, and it has provided me perspective in a way that others would not have, especially none of our people. Not at my age, at least. I have the benefit of being young, of not having experienced all the dark horrors of the world. Us elves have a long memory, but I am still only young. Perhaps that is where my optimism comes from.
And I do find that it's our longevity. It makes us complacent. I will say, I do have respect for the mortal beings of this world. In such short amount of lives, they can travel the entirety of the world. Yet, in hundreds of years of life, I've spent the majority of it underneath these trees. It is home, and every one of us, somehow, somewhere, has home. And I think my duty to my home has kept me within the Mirkwood. But you, Feanor, your duty has driven you beyond. And that's what makes you special. Understand this, my friend. You, whether you're in King Thranduil's good graces or not, you are an emissary of our people. You are the bulwark against the shadow, far beyond the trees. I no more want to keep you and your friends prisoner than I'd want anything. I want to see you thrive. I want to hear years down the road what Feanor and company has done. The shadow they fought. The allies they've made. I want to see a united Middle-earth. The free peoples. I want to see what Iluvatar intended. His creation. All of us. Standing as one. So that one day, these leaves will no longer be murky, but it will be the greenwood of old. And Feanor, the leadership that you showed today, your steadfastness in the face of danger, and those of your friends as well, that's a special quality.
What can I say? I had hope. I had hope that things would turn out well. I have hope that we will leave these woods and will return when it is better. I have hope that my companions have made it. I don't know. It's normally these dark times, they wear on me. But I feel like amongst all this darkness, there is a light. And I hope to grasp it with both hands and spread it.
We will make it out of this. And that light will be yours. It will be ours. It'll belong to all of those creatures who dwell in the light. And those that dwell in shadow will fear us. They'll go crying and screaming. Back to the dark, damp holes which they came. I do feel that there is a shadow growing in this world. But I do find that hope that you talk about. There is a light amongst it. The question is, will the light shine bright enough to dispel the darkness? With you, friend, I believe so.
And I'm going to like grip his forearm and and like give like a nod to him. And I'm going to turn back to everyone else and, like how far along during academic conversations everyone been tended to?
Yeah, everyone's been
Well,
tended to for a good amount. I'm gonna have you make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Okay. A 14.
From this experience and the endeavor that you had gone through, protecting your friends, and facing off a great shadow and a great evil, you only gain 1 point of shadow for this encounter.
Nice.
I know, it's still gaining points of shadow. It's not really a...
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
it's
no,
1 point.
No,
so,
no. Only one is good. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Considering
what we just... Considering I somehow got out of that with full health,
Mhm.
because of very convenient placing in the orders and stuff, like, there was some really good rolls. So, okay,
Yeah,
I'll save that
it's
for the end.
good stuff.
But no, more or less, it is like, all right, man, it's time to continue on. We've spoken, and Nornir and I have determined that night is probably going to be the most dangerous time for us to rest. We're going to try and press on until we get to the gate. If anyone at any point feels like they cannot travel, we'll see what we can do. We will carry you. We will do what we can. Yeah, and gotta wait till everyone gets together, and and we're more or less going to take the same kind of formation we did beforehand, and move on.
You do so. I'm going to have you make a survival check as you continue to press through the rest of the technically 3 days, 2.5 days through Mirkwood at the pace that you're going. So just one survival
14.
check. 14. You're able to make it through without any problem. You're able to see for the first time in about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, the sunshine on your face. You have reached the forest gate, but there's no sign of your companions. The elves, they all turn and look, and Taladir, he doesn't say anything. You can tell that there's a small part of him that's crestfallen, but word of potentially a new home has spread. And this is something that they're all holding on to. This is hope.
Does he see the note?
Make an investigation check for me. Not investigation. Perception check.
It's like right on the post, so unless it got ripped off or something.
I mean,
I got
yeah,
a 16. It's been a few days. It could have been
Elf
weather. It
vibes,
could have been
you know.
anything.
You
They
find
have
it.
a whole group of elves. There's no way they're gonna miss it.
Yeah, I know.
You find it. And it basically
Okay.
says we've made our way south. Meet us there.
Okay. Having fled the woods, I think my companions made the best decision. They have headed south, away from the entrance to the wood. Hopefully to somewhere safe into the. What is it called? The wetlands? Is it called so?
Woodland Hall.
Yeah. Into the woodland realms. Heading for Woodman Hall, I would assume. Hopefully, on our way, we can find them.
Well, if there's one
We'll
thing
be able
that
to
elves are
stalk
good
you.
at is making quick pace.
Yes. Let's hope we find them soon. And pulling on is like dusting himself off from like the wood and their travel. He's like, actually, now that we're in light, he's like, move forward. We're going to, I think, make camp here.
It
We've all
feels
needed a long-needed rest.
yeah, it feels incredibly bright, but at the same time, for the first time in a long time, you feel actual air come into your lungs. There's no longer this oppressive shadow.
Can I find somewhere that isn't immediately observable from the woods?
Yeah, there's
as much as I
plenty of
know that,
spaces.
yeah,
Mhm.
because as much as I know that we're now like free of the woods. These guys were still being pursued by like Thranduil's men and stuff. I don't want them to be like picked off just from having a campfire outside the woods. So, stuff like somewhere high if I can, but like somewhere that's out of sight.
Yeah, it's decently flat, but there's a number of large boulders and kind of caves that exist within kind of like this edge of Mirkwood, and so you actually know this area pretty well, and so you're able to very quickly find some hidden spots to be able to do that. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and jump back over to our company at the Easterly Inn. Morning arises, and with a start, the doors to each of your rooms open respectively, and essentially, you are greeted not by a hobbit, but you are greeted by a dog. In fact, you are greeted by Shadgdrak as he makes his way in. And again, this happens to each of you individually in your own rooms. You are amazed at the point where he not only just walks up to your bed, but he stands on his hind quarters and he uses his paws almost to remove the blankets from with you. And he goes, and as if almost understanding, you know that breakfast is served.
Why? He gets bed and service. Breakfast in bed. I didn't think I'd ever see that in quite some time. Thank you. Good boy. Good boy. Pats him on the head.
And he, he receives it gratefully. His tail waggles, and he goes on to the next room, to which he does the same thing with Theodric. And then Belgo, Boldor, all of them. So... But yes, you're the first one actually to be able to go down, with the exception of Jess. Jess is already down there. Made her way actually outside, so she is not there for breakfast, but she is out in the meadow. But you aren't sure, unless you want to be somewhere else.
No, I'd like to be in the middle. Can I be making a flower crown?
Yes, absolutely. Valineth, you make your way down, and breakfast is served, and it is a wonderful assortment of eggs, hobbit food that all you can imagine, eggs, potatoes, long sausage links, like anything that you could possibly think of. Oh, there it is. I love it. That's great. But anything that there possibly could be. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. I actually have anything that there possibly could be is there and ready for you to feast. Is there anything that particularly catches your eye?
Valineth?
Yeah, Valineth.
I mean, he's used to his elven leafy green breakfasts and whatnot, so he actually is going to be very curious about the meats, because he's not used to the meats. So he's going to be looking at the sausages and bacon.
They're all smoked to perfection. And in fact, you see Agatha in the back, and she is cooking with the skillet. And she says, "Oh, dear Valineth, how do you like your eggs? Do you like them over easy, or would you like them scrambled? Oh, also your bacon. Are you a crispy bacon person, or are you a soft bacon person?"
Valineth's like, I don't know. I'm not used to eating like this. Whatever you recommend.
So you're first time having bacon. This will be a joy. And she begins, and you can hear like the crackling and the snapping of it, and the aromas just begin to flood your lungs, and you're just like, and this alone draws everybody else out of their bed. And by the time that they come downstairs, you have already eaten. You get a sunny side up egg, along with a little bit of bread, some potato hash. And then additionally on top of that, your bacon has been cooked crispy. Each bite of the bacon just seems to, like, the fat melts in the back of your throat. And at first, you're aghast by just, like, such an unclean meal. But then you're just like, but this tastes incredible. So it's conflicting to you, but it's delicious nonetheless.
Well, every now and then I can enjoy this. Glad that I'm discovering all the things of this wonderful Middle Earth.
Theodric, are you there?
Yep.
Sweet.
Theodric is
yes.
loving it.
At this point, you come down as Valinith is finishing up, and this is something that it's not necessarily a traditional meal of Rohan, but the smells alone are just draw you. Like, you have never tasted food so well prepared in your entire life. You don't know if it's the food or just the mastery of the chef. Agatha knows what she's doing in the kitchen. She's done a thing or two. And this is actually something that Dodie goes over to you, and he's like, "Oh yes, Agatha. It's not just Agatha. Not to bring down her skills in the kitchen. Of course, she's amazing. But you know, us hobbits, we are known for our cooking skills, and you know, food is very important to us." And he goes and he explains everything and like all the ingredients that are in each thing. "Oh, these were locally sourced from here. Beorn himself gave us this honey from his own hives," and he just like talks about all the things that are served. But Valinith, you see that there is a place setting that has been very tidily straightened up, with essentially you look out the window and you see in the meadow just outside, Jess is finishing up her flower crown as she is sitting there kind of humming to herself.
Valinith goes, opens the door, and looks outside, and he's like, Miss Jessamine, Miss Jessamine, hello, good morning to you. Hopefully you slept well.
Indeed I did, and yourself?
Well, I mean, I don't really sleep myself. It's more of a reminiscence, but I feel well rested. Yes, that is the way of us elves. I wish I could sleep sometimes. It seems like it'd be quite a relaxing endeavor. But I like your flowers. Those are beautiful. You seem to be very practiced in the ways of making such adornments. It's great.
Indeed I am. You have a good eye. And if you should ever want one, you need but only ask.
Well, that is very kind of you. Unfortunately, on the battlefield itself, that is more of a target as opposed to they don't necessarily enjoy the beauty of it. But in our free time and in our traveling, I might take you up on that. Appreciate it. Did you eat your first breakfast yet? How about second breakfast? It's ready.
Yeah, I imagine I had some fruit or something. That's
Oh, yeah.
perfect.
In fact, you've become such a wonderful customer that first breakfast is automatically served to you in the morning by Shadrach. He comes walking in on his hind legs with his paws, holding a tray of food every single morning. It's amazing. It's incredible what this dog can do. But yeah, he does everything. You've even seen him do laundry. You've seen him like do like all kinds of things, like lookout duty. Like, this dog is insane. But it's wild, but it's become okay. It's still wild. You can't quite get used to this.
Yes, indeed, I already have eaten.
Oh, well, that's glad to hear. Well, do you want to join us for the company? I know Theodric just got up, and I know he'd like to talk. I'd like to pick your brain about all sorts of things.
She hesitates, but she'll reply. Do you really think inside the inn is the best place to discuss things?
I mean, I think any place is a good place to discuss things, you know? It's the moment.
I mean this as no sort of disrespect to our host.
Uh-huh.
He's been very generous to me, but he has all too much involved for my liking.
What do you mean by he seems kind enough to me?
I only
He's-
meant
he-
is that he is rather difficult to have a conversation around that he is not a part of.
Oh, that's true. I observed that last night, but he's a kind fellow, but I agree. Would you like me to go get Theodric and bring him outside then?
Oh, there is absolutely no rush.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I guess maybe we'll let him eat. In the meantime, maybe you can explain some of these herbal medicines or of what sorts that you say you practice in. I'm curious. I've been racking my brain all night. In my years of study, I've never heard of such a thing.
No, I don't believe that you would. And in truth, I have little practice on using such things outside of hobbits and the occasional human. I don't. I'm uncertain how it would go on Elven or Beyonding or even Dwarf.
Well, I am a student of the mind, and so I think we should try this out, test it out. And Valineth takes out his side dagger and cuts his hand. What can you do for this?
Well, I would recommend that you not cut yourself. Knives are very dangerous.
Oh, they are very dangerous indeed. But for the science of it, I'm very curious. It's not lethal or anything.
For the science of it, you should not practice on yourself.
I mean, good point, but it isn't lethal. Take a look. Look at this. It's just a cut. I've had much worse in my day. In what ways? I'm curious to see your healing ways and how it heals this up.
Well,
By the way,
first
you
of all-
receive 1 point of damage.
Yes.
First of all,
Mm-hmm.
just because you have experienced worse than this does not mean that this is nothing. This is important.
I like the way you think. I can sense a healer behind you, my friend.
You pay me a great compliment. But well, what can we do with this? Well, the first thing is to stop the bleeding. And I just press like a clean cloth or whatever I have on me. On it
Oh
to
yes,
stay.
oh yes. Pressure is good. It seems we share that in common.
Now, truthfully, this will probably heal fine on its own, with maybe a few herbs or something to accentuate that process.
That's what I'm used to, of course.
I work on the theory that the body is very good at looking after itself.
Why, yes, it's an amazing thing, isn't it?
It really is. But sometimes we can give it a little bit of help in other ways.
Oh, yes. That's what us healers do, isn't it?
Indeed. I have always believed in kindness and gentleness to be the most effective healing tools in my trade.
Okay, yes. It is I mean, if you're a gruff doctor, no one wants your healing. I get that, I understand.
It is less about what people want and what people, I don't know, expect. If you're in a hostile environment, then your body will not heal itself. It'll be in a constant state of survival.
True.
And there's no room for growth in a state of survival.
Okay.
So if you are cold, tired, wet, or hungry, these are detriments to your healing.
Definitely makes it more difficult, that's for sure.
I love this interaction, by the way. Like, this is going
Aw,
exactly how I planned it. I would have like planned it myself. It's like, yep, Valent's like, and can you please explain the science? It's like, I'm getting to it.
What science? It's magic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, these are very detrimental. So the first thing you want to do is ensure that they are warm, well-fed, dry,
Mhm.
well-rested.
Okay, okay. Mhm.
And if you've managed to do that, then you've pretty much done it. But given time, it'll recover from anything.
Valid
And then if it
thinks-
needs something a little bit extra,
Mhm.
usually take one of these. And I just like grab the crystal around my neck, like one of the crystals around my neck.
Curious. Curious. What can you do with this? Is this their magic source?
I suppose.
I'm ready. I'm ready to see it work. He holds out his hand.
Okay.
He's eager.
Yeah,
So
I take
inquisitive, it's lovely.
a little. She's hesitant about it, but she takes a little
okay.
rock and she wraps it around your wrist.
Okay, alright, alright. Wrapped.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I can see. Okay, alright, so this is the fashion in which it needs to be applied. Alright. Alright, how long do I need to wait for this? To go away.
As soon as it's done healing, it'll be. Again, it depends on your environment, your mentality,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes the strength of the crystal. That's a bit of a smaller chunk, but it is recently charged, so it should still have some properties in it.
Found it is the thing of Raggy's. Oh, this is so curious. I've never heard of such a way of healing before. I will diligently take notes, and I will see the process of healing and how long it takes. I'll compare it to my own remedies that I've done and see the benefits and the costs to each. I'm very curious about this. And he walks back in.
Can I say how much I simultaneously love and hate this?
You absolutely may.
I'm gonna actually have Valineth and
Yeah.
Jess. You're gonna make contested skill checks for me. Jess, you can either do performance or persuasion, whichever one you want to do. And Valineth, you are going to do insight for me.
This is just a placebo roll. Well,
Yeah, right.
that's why it's.
Well, I didn't roll well.
Find it
What'd
like
you roll?
that. I don't want to say. I gotta say.
I rolled a 7! Oh my gosh!
Oh my God.
It's the moment.
What was it? What was it? What were the rules? 7 and what?
She got a 6. I got a 7. She got a 6.
Mhm.
Valineth, you look at this and you begin, like, you wait for something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is the
Yeah, oh,
same,
yeah.
and you just continue.
He's
And then, like, you
waiting.
look at Jess, you look at yourself. You notice that your wound is starting to sting a little bit. You get excited for a second, like something's happening. But then you just realize that it just hurts. It's starting to throb. You look back at Jess, and she in a calm way nods, and you look back to your hand. The seeds of doubt have been sown. Just a little bit though. You're not gonna automatically just be like, this isn't anything, but you're just like,
It doesn't work quite as efficiently fast as my traditional ways of healing. But I guess we'll see. In time, right? As you said.
Well, how long does your traditional ways of healing work?
Oh, it's pretty much immediate, in fact.
Immediately.
as soon as I apply whatever I do, there is improvement right away. And he's just looking at his hand. But
Still kind of like gingerly holding it out with the crystal in it. Like,
I
really?
don't doubt you. You seem to have healed many people in the past. So, for the time being, I'm curious and I'm interested in studying. And he walks back inside
Well,
of the thing with his weird.
It was
with his
never going to be immediate, though.
well, you know. And so he walks back in with his rock around his hand, sweet-looking bracelet that he has.
Yeah.
And he just sits there at the table with his journal and just observes as things are going on, taking notes as it's
Is
going.
this the moment you realize you cut your dominant hand?
Yeah, right. Oh, shit. I forgot I'm left-handed. Ouch. Oh gosh, that was nice.
And
That's good.
while this whole interaction is going on, Theodric, you are eating your breakfast, and immediately a large thud next to you, and you hear this gruff, and then you hear like a burp, and you look to your side, and you see this surly-looking dwarf, and he's there like with a basically like a tankard, but inside the tankard is milk, and he has this like little milk mustache on his mustache, and he says, "Oi, don't mind if I sit here, right?"
No, make yourself comfortable, friend.
Oh yeah. Tell me, have you tried the pancakes? Oh, I'm gonna tell you, Agatha does a thing or two. She's a wonder in the kitchen.
I'll have to ask for them for this second breakfast I've been hearing about, because right now I'm just really into these eggs and bacon right now.
Oh, eggs and bacon. Try the hash. If anything, I actually ordered the fried potatoes. Oh, and here they come. And then, boom, like right, out in front, Dindy, actually, not Dodie, Dindy, Shiloh's like, Master Friar, this is your meal. Fried to perfection. And he begins picking up and eating, and he, his hands get all messy, and he wipes them in his beard a little bit, and he holds out his hand. Pardon me, I was a little bit fixated on my meal. The name is Friar, at your service.
Well met, Mr. Friar. I'm, Theodric Grimborn.
Oh, that's an interesting name. And you're a curious-looking one. Are you the one who's in charge of the horse out back? I was in the stables
Yes.
this morning. I was fixing up one of the broken shingles, and I saw a magnificent beast. I'm assuming it's yours.
Yes, that is my horse, Barada Rock. It's a fine steed of Rohan.
Rohan? I've not made my way so far south before, but, I've traveled in the north quite a bit. I'm from the Blue Mountains, and, when they decided to set up shop, Agatha, she's the brains behind this beautiful creation, but I'm the brawn. After I built this establishment, of course, for a pretty penny, the Brandy Bucks, they hired me on as the full-time stableman, just fixer-upper. I can pretty much do anything. Just ask and I'll help, and on the occasion I'll help with some bartending. And, just the general axeman in residence. If you need anything, I'm the dwarf to come to.
Well, I appreciate the offer, Mr. Friar. You certainly do sound like the, handyman to have around.
I usually say that, saying he's like licking his fingers and just... Indeed. So tell me, Rohan, what brings you here from down south?
A lot of, I guess, travel and just youthful curiosity, I suppose.
I've seen a fair few wildmen around here, but never before have I seen a gentleman from Rohan. It's okay if I call you by your first name, Theodric.
Oh yes, certainly.
I just find Grimborn doesn't quite paint a welcoming picture per se. No offense against your last name or surname or anything, but it's odd.
Oh no, it's more of a name that was given to me.
Oh, so you have enemies, I see. Oh.
Not so much enemies as I guess just poor luck.
Well, hopefully your stay at the Easterly Inn improves your luck. In fact, He looks to either side. I have never seen a dour face walk through here.
Yes, well, if all of the guests here eat like this every day, I can certainly see why they wouldn't.
Yes. And Doty, he's a wonderful entertainer, but wonderful storyteller, too. I've always dreamed of meeting the Bagginses, but most especially any of Thorin's company. They are what every single dwarf of the Blue Mountains seeks after.
Yes, I mean, they are great heroes, I suppose. I've heard quite a lot
Heroes,
of
but
stories
tradesmen
about...
as well. Did you know that there are a number of them who are good cooks? There are some who are good stone carvers. There are some who are whittlers. I consider myself, what's the word? A Renaissance dwarf. I can do a little bit of everything.
That is quite impressive.
Yes, indeed.
There's something to be
Lots of
said
time
about
on the road does that.
there's something to be said about the tales of just everyday, ordinary people doing spectacular things.
So you are one of those who agree that a hard day's labor... Well, that's what true heroes are born. You see these, and he points like directly in his face, and he begins pointing out each of his calluses that he's developed on his hands, and about like all the different jobs that he had, and he's super in. Like he doesn't seem to have any concept of space. But he notices himself doing it. Oh, sorry, mind me. And then he immediately is back in. Him and Doty are two peas in a pod.
No, please continue. This is honestly quite interesting. I've only ever really gotten to speak briefly with dwarves before.
Well, then I am honored. At your service, and I've already said that. If you need anything of fixing, if there's any problem in your room, if you need any of your weapons checked out, anything like that, again, I'm your dwarf, the one that you come to. Don't bother Dodie with that. He'll go on with an hour-long story about something. But me, I'll go on with an hour-long story about something while fixing what you need fixing.
Well, I'm glad that you can multitask.
I told you, I'm a Renaissance dwarf.
Pardon me. Well, yes, thank you very much. I'll keep that in mind. For now, I'm not sure if I need anything. I do still have to check our wagon and our provisions to make sure everything's working and everything's where it should be. But if anything's amiss, like if I need the wagon or any of the ponies reshoed or anything, I'll let you know.
Indeed. And while he's been talking, you notice that just like in between like words, he's just been shoving his food into his mouth. Like this dude has no sense of like eloquent manners at all. And he's just, and as you say that, he picks up his plate and he licks it and then slams it down on the counter and says, "Ugh. Well, of course." And he pats his face with his beard once more, and he's like, "Oh, I got a couple crumbs. Well, that one I could save for later." And he begins, "Oh, delicious." And he looks at you and says, "Well, Master Theodric, until we meet again, probably at second breakfast." And he takes his plate over to the bar. "Agatha, perfection once again." "Oh, I'm so happy that you are enjoying your meals. It's been lovely being able to have a compliment from you every single morning." And he says, "Oh, well, I'm just telling you as it is. Keep up the good work." And he begins to make his way off. And Rufus has been at your side. If anything, actually, Rufus has slept in the same room as you last night. But he is at your side, but his eyes are like fixed and like watching Shadrach just move around like from person to person. And he looks to you like kind of whining, like, I'm gonna have you make an insight check for me.
Yep. Give me a split second.
He wants to be like Shadrach.
Oh, be-doo, I wanna be like you.
Except he wants to walk on two legs.
I wanna walk
serve
like you.
breakfast.
Talk like you. How can I sing but I can't talk without coughing? What the hell?
It's
Sorry, that
It
was an
uses a
insight
different
check.
part of your
Yeah.
box. Sorry, actually, it's an interesting thing. It actually has like a different part of your whole speech capacity,
Oh.
like the whole organ that you use. It actually gets used completely differently.
I didn't
That's
know
why actually
that.
some people, when you sing really hard, it destroys your voice box.
That's why
I
you
got
have
a
to sing from the
15.
pelvic floor. 15. So with that 15, you're able to insight from him. He's asking you permission to go shadow Shadrach.
I look down at our beloved Rufus, and I hand him a little bit of the bacon rind that I've got left.
And immediately
And okay, go play. Just be good.
he just runs up, and Shadrach just kind of looks back. And again, Rufus is a much bigger dog than Shadrach, and Shadrach just kind of looks up and Rufus just immediately is and kind of in play position, and Shadrach barks back and then gets in play position, and the two of them play in the dining room for a good amount of time. And that is where we're going to end our session for today.
Oh,
Hey.
Ending
Ta-da.
I love it.
It's been a while to have a feel-good ending.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I am
Nice.
surprised.
I'm so happy
Faye.
I'm alive.
I'm surprised you pulled that off, Nick.
Yeah,
Like,
You're a
holy crap.
Strategy.
lucky man.
Yeah.
And
Strategy
lucky for a
and-
nat 1 on Savage Toller's.
It was strategy and
Multiple
Taladir putting in some goddamn work.
Mhm.
What did he get? He got how many nat 20s?
He got 2 nat 20s on
Like three.
attacks.
And then
Kalathir got a
Kalathir?
nat
Kalathir
22
got one.
against Toller. Yep.
yeah, with their special pointy sticks.
Yeah.
So
Feanor's definitely going to be asking them how they made them to see if maybe that's something he can
Aww.
get a hold of.
Feanor's not just gonna take one for himself.
No, he's not a thief.
You teach a man to
Oh.
fish.
Meglin doesn't need his
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, Meglin's gone, bro. Look, let's be honest. Let's be entirely honest. If I know how to make them, I can make one for Theodric and one for Valineth.
True.
One for me.
What?
No, I wouldn't.
You don't do anything. All we know is you make crowns. Oh,
I made this one actually.
oh
Oh,
really?
really?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's actually really nice.
It's the dollar store. And now it's stuck in my hair. Hang on.
Valineth
Wow.
is skeptical on her prowess on the battlefield, but I guess we'll see.
And skeptical about her healing prowess.
That's what I'm saying.
A little bit, tiny bit,
I mean,
tiny bit.
she did say that if you're skeptical, it probably won't work.
True.
And he's
All about
skeptical.
I look
Placebo.
forward to seeing this interaction and how it unfolds. But let's go ahead and
Kyle
quickly.
approved all of this, by the way.
Oh yeah, I did.
Blame him for enabling my crazy ideas.
It's hilarious.
It's okay. We're gonna go one by one. Quick thoughts on tonight's session. Try to keep it under 3 minutes, and then we'll end everything with that. But yes, so we'll start with I'll just go normal order. Valineth, we'll begin with you.
All right. It was really good. I really liked tonight's session. Very action-packed, but also lots of talking between the characters and getting to understand Jessamine a little bit more. I'm really looking forward to this interaction between Valineth and Jessamine and how that grows. Seeing Theodric's reaction to seeing hobbits for the first time is great. And yeah, Feanor. Oh my gosh. Omedido, my friend. Congratulations.
I'm gonna show up and be like, yeah, I defeated Savage Taller. It's nothing big. It's not a big deal. So I used Meglin as bait, and it worked.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it was a really intense session, a really good session, but lots of different elements for roleplay, action. It was kind of like an all-in-one kind of session. I loved it.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Definitely, for sure. Theodric, tell us your thoughts on today's session.
I love tonight's session. I think it might be one of our best yet, personally. A lot of role-playing, a lot of action. Thankfully, none of it concerning me or Valineth, though we didn't have to risk anything.
As a DM, it does kind of hurt, though, to be like, all right, I'm controlling a million things, and then one player gets to move once, and so I'm just like, all right, we're doing this as quick as possible. I literally have
like my dice like a random number generator, and I don't use the D&D Beyond because it's too slow, and so I'm just like
Yeah.
hit. No, not hit.
To be
like,
fair,
things like that.
watching when you first rolled out the map, I was like, oh, there's like 15 of them versus Savage Taller. They got this. And then I look closer, I'm like, oh, half
And
of those are
saw that
little
there were
spiders. Half of those are little spiders. They're screwed.
Yeah.
And
It's
after
crazy.
watching that combat, I was like, okay, like, no joke. I think we could have taken most of the elves except for like Maeglin, Taladir, and Calathir.
They were hurt previously, so none of them were at full HP.
Because I was watching them like I think they had like 8 HP.
Before
and I was like-
actually the combat, actually before the session, I went through with each of the, I believe there's 6 of them, seven of them. I went through each of them and did from their maximum HP, I did a random number generator, and then basically that was the HP. There were some of them that started with 2 HP. There were a lot of them were like with like 8 or like 12 or like things like that, and so a lot of them were pretty hurt to begin with. Yeah.
But no, combat was good. Role playing was excellent as always. Looking forward to seeing how Jessamine fits in with the party.
Jessamine, excuse me.
Jessamine.
Mine.
I know.
And-
It's gonna take me forever.
And I'm looking forward to moving on with the story, I guess.
Yeah, moving into more fellowship phase shenanigans, the adventure. Crazy.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome. So, Jess, how was session number, I guess, 2? But full session number 1 for you?
Yeah. When I tell you, I have been quivering with excitement for this like all week and pretty much all last week. I've been looking forward to this.
Did it meet
This-
expectation?
Nah. no, it was good. I quite enjoy it. Like Jessamine just side-eyeing, I can't talk. Side-eyeing Dodie while he just like chats up the whole of the Baggins family. But I'm really happy that I was able to pull out like the whole genealogy family
Mhm.
tree because that's a huge thing in Hobbits.
And FYI, I don't mean to interrupt when the role-playing and everything's happening. That's just Dodie. That's literally like how he's written. So
I know. I recognize that.
Okay. any mention of Bilbo, he's like, oh, squirrel. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh, this dude. Yeah, I think I'm really enjoying you guys getting to know Jessamine because I have been plotting this character for weeks at this point. So
For sure.
yeah, and Fëanor, I'm glad you're not dead, and I'm glad that Nim's not dead.
Yeah,
So-
sorry. I'll wait till.
That's pretty much my thoughts.
Fëanor.
Okay, so I understand that I was extremely lucky. Like, let's be honest, we all know it.
Hey,
That
it's a mixture of
the
luck
fact
and
that he
skill.
rolled it. Yeah, we'll go with that. No, but like, no, it was really good. Like, yeah, it was super interesting, like how the combat was laid out. I was really worried that like the instant that Nim or I went to move, it was instantly going to be opportunity attack, just kill us instantly.
Mhm.
But like, obviously, if that's how strong Savage Taller is, that's how strong he is. But no, it was really good. I thought it was like really interesting, and I did like that my planning and the events that I've done, where in the past where I fought the spiders, directly helped me save as many people as possible in this encounter. And
Mhm.
I will admit, I have been super anxious about this for like 2 weeks. Just
and me
waiting.
both.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die so horribly, and no one will even know. At least Jalen got buried. Like, but no, it was interesting. It was a lot of fun, and look, it was good to like get like my nat 20, and when I just ran up and dealt one of the highest amounts of damage we've done in the campaign. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
yes, and then
insane.
immediately Taladir goes and does an even higher one, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Your Great Spear definitely does more damage, flat damage, but biter spears, I'm telling you, there's no such thing as like a biter Great Spear, but it's still pretty fancy.
Oh yeah. The biter spear. No, sorry. My Great Spear does 2d12 plus 2. And then I had the
Holy
plus 2
smokes.
from my rage as well. So that was why I got like a 26 or something.
2d12?
Um,
It's max
that's
damage?
2d12. Yeah. It says roll 2. Yeah, sorry.
It's insane. It's big damage. Big boy damage.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like. I just clicked like. Oh no, I must have done it correctly because I just clicked on it earlier anyway. It's.
Yeah, so anyway, the max damage is a homebrew thing, so it's not going to take into account the natural 20. But that's totally fine. I mean, it's already happened, so for next time. But yeah, that was a crap ton of damage. Just one-shotting one of them spiders from full. Ugh. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
For sure.
But no, it was really good. I'm glad that I've been able to get the people I can out, and it wasn't a thing that I'd even like thought of prior to this, but I did think it was like an interesting take for Feanor to be like, look guys, I'm not really the biggest fan of Maeglin, but you have all seemed to be kind enough in your own ways. You deserve some chance at redemption. Here's potentially a place you can go where you will be safe. And yeah, it just felt like right in its own way. Like not necessarily the first thing he would have thought of, but having escaped with the people he escaped with, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely came out of the whole Rivendell thing for me. Just came out of nowhere. I was like, wow, that's great. Because at a certain point, it's just like, well, what ends up happening? Like, how is this going to go? Are they going to still remain loyal to like Maeglin's cause? But from what you've learned, they're not necessarily wanting to overthrow King Thranduil, and clearly with like their numbers now, it's not really a thing. But yeah, it was interesting. I was really looking forward to see if you did survive, like what was going to happen with that. So
yeah, and like look, I try to stay as much in what would Feanor do, and I get that conflict as well of like what would he do? It's like he is conflicted here. And all he can really offer them is a safe space to go to, like at least for a little while.
For sure.
If when he shows up, if Valineth's willing to even be like even consider that.
Well, I mean, you know Valineth, that is definitely something you'd consider because they are his brethren, regardless. People are redeemable, like you said. So.
Yeah.
So you'll be fine. Don't worry. Valineth will give him permission, so it's all good.
Yeah, but Feanor doesn't know.
True.
Let's just hope we survive long enough to get to you. Let's hope we don't just suddenly get like killed by a bunch of Bjornings or something.
Exactly.
But no, I thought it was a great session.
I thought so too.
I'm glad to be alive.
Quick question. Thoughts on characters such as Dodie and better yet Shadrach? I'll share my thoughts after your guys' thoughts.
They were the best part of the session.
Yeah, is Shadrach one of the Beorn's dogs? Because I know in the Hobbit books, there's like all those dogs that are like servants, manservants to Beorn. Is he one of those?
Oh.
Above game, yeah. So he was charged by Beorn to go watch them, and make sure like everything is running smoothly. That's why like in that check where it was like, what's going on here? It's less of the fact that like they've adopted Shadrach's adopted them. Like he's there to like watch over everything. So he's an ultra special Beorn dog, not a shape changer, but he's a Beorn dog. So
Okay. That's awesome.
I believe with the guy who was running, who owns the tavern, I believe someone, I can't remember who it was, in the chat said that it's basically like Valineth as a hobbit.
That was me.
That
That was me.
And I thought that was a very like good description. It's like, look, yeah, let's be honest, this is kind of like the same like vibes.
Yeah, like if you could somehow get Dodie to talk about medicine and Valineth to engage with that, they would talk forever.
True. Not wrong
I don't
about
know
that.
how that would go because I think Dodie believes in Jess's healing and Valineth.
Dodie does.
I kind of hate.
have some doubts.
I kind of hate that you've gone with the crystal healing nonsense. I wonder what.
It's gonna be really funny when it works that one time.
The
Like
placebo
super
effect
effectively, and,
happens,
like,
and you're like, whoa! I heal 4
wanna
points
know
of
what-
damage.
I want to know what
Like, I don't-
dwarves think of that nonsense.
look, they get sick from gems and stuff. Like it's literally,
Right.
you know, so like they're probably like, yeah, it's real. We just don't mess with it.
Unless it works like Warhammer, where it's like belief powers it.
Oh god.
It's kind of
That is
that's kind of
That is
placebo.
exactly what placebo is. Did you know?
Oh no, it's
did
not a
you know
placebo in Warhammer.
placebo
though.
has a placebo effect. So even if you take a placebo and you know it's that, you're still expecting the effect. So the effect still happens.
But no, in Warhammer, belief is an actual thing. Like, if
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Orcs.
it's great.
I will
Yeah,
say,
no, it's gonna. I'm waiting to see how Feanor, when he meets Jessamine, is gonna be like, "Hi, person, where are my friends?"
Yeah, that's fair.
with Dodie, there has not been a single campaign that I've watched of Adventures in Middle Earth where people have liked Dodie. People
Oh, really?
generally
Dodie's
hate him.
great.
I don't get it. I think he's like the most pleasant person. I mean, yes, he's a little much, but like he's very pleasant. He's very welcoming. He's very friendly. But everyone's just like, oh my god, he's the most annoying person. It's like I'll go anywhere
It's
but the Easterly Inn.
impossible to hate him because he means well.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, he's the greatest. I
He's
love
just
Dodie.
like a really genuine person.
Yeah, he's like exactly how I picture a hobbit.
Yeah.
It's great.
Like,
At
there's a
going at
reason why Jeff
110%
has
all
been
the time.
putting up with his shenanigans like
Mhm.
for a month
Yeah,
at this point. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
Oh.
But no, it's good. So I just wanted your guys' thoughts on Dodie because I'm just like, I kind of figured that, but like a lot of campaigns that I've watched, every single person without fail hate their Dodie. They're like, oh, Dodie, and it's just like, no, he's so great. Because like some of like the DMs, the lore masters that play him in a very similar way as he's written, and they're just like, oh, he's the worst. Just like he might as well be Sauron in this campaign. It's just like, really, Dodie?
That's not fair.
Like I'm gonna say, I
Come on.
can't guarantee that Feanor won't find him annoying.
He's a little bit
in
annoying,
some capacity.
but that bad where he's
but,
like the main villain.
No, not hating him. More just like, look, I'm done with this. I can't talk to this guy for much longer.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I am interested in seeing how my companion shop, like, oh my god, Feanor's here. I'm like, hey guys, look who I brought with me. And like, there's just like a whole group of her captors right
Reach
there.
for knives and yell.
Now what we do then is we capture them, we pull a reverse,
Yeah. Maeglin's dead, so it's not like there's anyone
exactly.
to relate to. So.
We could do it easy.
Led by
I mean,
Yeah.
how much HP could they have back by now?
Yeah, I would say all of them that
Yeah, not
survived
much,
have
probably.
higher HP than you, maybe with the exception of regular elves. But yeah,
What? They were all injured.
Nornir and
That's even me.
Taladir definitely have much higher HP than any of you. So
Taladir was on death's door.
One other thing I really
that's
did
true.
like too was the fact that Jalen's legacy continues.
Yeah.
I'm like,
With-
Melanif talking to those guys, I was just like,
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I was honestly waiting for it because I
Yeah.
was like, the way that they're again written in the source material is like they're young dudes from the Breland, like just like beyond where it's just like they've wanted to explore. So I was like, well, that's around Jalen's age, so they're gonna be classmates, and so that worked out. So it's great. It's a lot of fun.
okay, yep. That worked out, yep. Super good, yep, thanks for that. Thanks for
good.
that. I'm just gonna
Ca-
go over
camera
here
cut.
and not think about the repercussions of that at all.
Camera cuts to a low down shot of just a grave next to a tree.
Sad. But it's good. Like you said, the saga, the legend continues even in her passing. So it's a beautiful thing. But we're gonna go ahead and end things there. But just a couple of quick things. Schedule stuff. Dane, talk about schedule.
Yeah, so we have a brand new updated schedule for literally everything this year. It's starting now, I guess, starting this week. So since I moved back to the States, I'm going to be treating Fantasy Forge Studios as a full-time job. So we're going to be having lots and lots and lots of content, as well as outside of just Twitch streaming, but social medias as well, including YouTube. I'm going to be working on shorts. I'm going to be working on so many things to grow the channel. But yeah, so basically right now, the plan is I will be streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays American time. Japan time, or that end of the world, it's a day later. So that would be what, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, is what that's going to be. It's all posted in the Discord, so if you're curious about that, feel free to go there. I know the times are weird, and I know they're a little awkward. They're very, very different than what they are, but I will be streaming longer than my normal streams. The current plan right now on those streams is Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'll be streaming 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m., maybe even a little bit longer, Mountain Standard Time, which is where I live in Colorado, which I think is that's like kind of similar-ish to Kyle's stream times that he does.
I start my
days,
stream at
similar-ish.
4 p.m. Mountain Time, so the first
Yeah.
2 hours will be
So you're starting at
it's-
6 in the morning for me.
early.
So, yeah, so it's early. I understand it's very, very early, but at the same time, it's the time that works, unfortunately. So we're going to be sticking to that. The only changes that may change in the future, we may go longer depending on how we're doing. So again, I usually did 3 hours. I'm going to be bumping up to 4 hours, if not longer, for my normal weekly streams. The only thing that may change, I may change my Monday stream to a different time to work better for my European audiences as well, because that's literally the middle of the night for my European audiences, all those times. So 2 p.m. to whatever. So that just doesn't work. So I might do my Monday stream at a different time, just so they have something. But also, it's going to be kind of a different sort of assortment of different streams. So my Wednesday and Thursday streams are going to be like the streams I normally do. So just like the weekly, like I'm playing one game to completion streams. Saturdays are going to be challenge streams. So that can include anything from sitting down and playing one game all the way through. That could include community days. That could include like Pokemon Nuzlocke, that kind of stuff. And we'll basically be playing those to completion on those days. So Saturday is kind of just like fun day, I would say. It's something just completely random that we'll be doing, and just playing lots of fun games, and doing challenge runs of those. And then Mondays is going to be a series game, that's going to be an extended series game. I'm still deciding on what that's going to be. Eventually, I would like it to be Final Fantasy 14. And play it with Kyle at some point. The MMORPG. I mean, we'd have to work that out. Obviously, we might have to change that day. But I would like to have like at least one very consistent, like we're always doing it kind of thing. So extended long stream, and then yeah, obviously social media and stuff too. So we said there's a lot to go on. So I guess this week, tomorrow morning, I guess for all y'all on the eastern side of the world. I'll be streaming some Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and then as well as the next day. And then Saturday is our birthday, actually. That's another thing. Kyle and I turned 29. So we're going to be having a community day. So we'll be doing like Jackbox games, maybe marbles, all kinds of stuff where we can just enjoy and play together, kind of like what we did last year. So come join me for that. If not, totally fine. Enjoy your weekends. And that's what we have planned for the foreseeable future. So again, there'll be growing pains. I know there will be growing pains and getting used to specific time slots. But then again, I'm having to get up at 3 a.m. every Wednesday for this stream as well. So there's growing pains for both sides. And then, yeah, so that's the plan for now.
And we do have a sponsor here, Daisnaki. They're a Japanese sweets and luxury treats company, and they currently have their summer box out. So their Omatsuri summer box, and that comes with a bunch of dagashi, basically like a fun little kind of summer bag that comes with it, and then ramune as well. So check them out. It's a really cool. It's a limited time for their summer, and I believe this weekend I checked out their social medias. This weekend, Go follow them on social media. They're running a
There's a
flash
sale
sale.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they're running a flash sale from the 11th through the 13th. So go check them out on Instagram. If you follow them, that kind of stuff, they have basically a code that you can use for the discount sale. So go check them out. But if you do order from them, say that Fantasy Forge sent you, as it helps us out, and put your Twitch name, because that you'll get entered into raffles for our subscriber referral thing. So yeah, it's super exciting. We are pretty pumped for this partnership continuing forward, but definitely make sure to support them. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and close our stream here. Thank you all for sticking around. For my Australian friends, thank you for staying with us for so late. But yeah, until then, we will see you guys later. See you next week with more Adventures in Middle-earth, and we'll see you the rest of the week for streams. Have a good one, guys, and may the road go ever onward and onward. Bye, guys.
Bye.